Welcome back, everyone, and we start our afternoon session with Michel Weber, and the title of his talk is The Ontological Roots of Temporality. Michel Weber is a philosopher, director of the Center for Philosophical Practice in Brussels, and he's also a professor at the Department of Educational Foundations of the University of Saskatchewan, more or less, sorry. And he is an interpreter of the philosophy of Whitehead, and his current research program mainly deals with the political philosophy and the philosophy of psychiatry. Please.
Okay, I guess I can speak. I suppose everyone will hear me somehow. Whatever, I'll try to be loud in one way or another. Bon, alors, this was just to help digestion. I suppose you'll be fully awake at this point. The title is The Ontological Roots of Temporality. What does it mean? It means that unless you raise the question of the proper ontology, you won't give an answer to the question of time. Whitehead says this very clearly. Now, maybe the main problem with regard to time is that time has more than one meaning in our experience. And what we tend to do is to understand time through science, obliterating our own experience. Now, what we see, when we read in Bergson, Whitehead, or James, these are the three main philosophers, I'd say, who have questioned time from a process perspective, that one should start from our own experience and notice that our experience or consciousness of time has various dimensions. Notice, by the way, that for the Greeks, there were many different words to talk about time. Maybe I'll say a word about that later on. And so the idea is not to forget any of these dimensions. Perhaps that the current trend started with Aristotle, when Aristotle decided that it was meaningful to talk, that the best way to deal with time was to look at it from the perspective of chronos, forgetting ion, forgetting kairos, and so forth and so on. Anyway, if you're interested in the general context of my work, you'll find it on an academia page. Now, as you might know, there are different ways of giving a paper. It's like this TV series, you have Columbo, where you give the name, you see the crime straight away. That's what I will be doing. Then you have Hercule Poirot, bien Maigret, for those who know the French. Then actually you have to struggle with the main inquirer, with the policeman, and you have the answer only at the end of the talk. Since it's digestion time, I thought it was better to give you the corpse straight away. So, the question of the ontological root of temporality from the perspective of time boils down to what is called the creative advance of nature. So I will try not to use, I will try to use as little as possible of Whitehead's own technicalities, because it's not always fully relevant, it does not always have communication. But this is important. So if the question is, how does Whitehead picture his intuition, if you like? You have to think about the creative advance of nature. What does the creative advance of nature basically, no, I'm sorry, I haven't finished my sentence. What is the purpose of the creative advance of nature? It is to picture Whitehead's Weltanschauung, if you like, his own intuition of reality in the making, but also reality made. So, from the perspective of the study of time, we have all the necessary concepts in order to understand what does temporality in all its dimensions presuppose. So it means that in order to have a strong concept of time, we need first to understand novelty. You don't have time if you have nothing novel, if you don't have an event, if you don't have becoming, or you could say if you have no rupture. What does rupture mean here? It means that the past causal ties can be broken. It's exceptionally important because you can put it very simply, actually. If the past causal ties can never be broken, it means that we are not free. It means that there is no time, of course. It means that we are not free. And if we are not free, it means that life has no meaning. Now, perhaps that life has no meaning, of course, but it's a difficult way to philosophize if you start with the assumption, look, we are on tracks, and whatever you do, you remain on these tracks. There is no way you can break these past causal chains. So, first thing to claim, if you want to have a strong concept of time, is that you have the possibility of rupture, the possibility of novelty, the possibility of becoming. Now, that becoming does not take place in the void. There is always a given structure, and that structure, on the one hand, is presupposed by the becoming, but it is also transformed by the becoming. It's the question of memory, if you like. So you have a structure that is presupposed, and that structure will be modified by the becoming. So the interplay between rupture and structure offers a first idea of what time is. This is the very basic framework, but it does not guarantee that you're not stuck in sort of a loop. You see? If you want to have a strong concept of time, it means that you have to have a trend, a mechanism that will secure that you don't have an infinite repetition of the same. In Whitehead, it's that. So if you want to remember something of my talk, that's it. Now, of course, you don't present the flower without the stem. Huh? So I'll give you a few words about the general context of the argument. I keep repeating myself. You should not worry. I'm not senile yet. Bon, alors, enfin, whatever you decide. So I say first a word about shaking the foundation and about the parallel that has been made explicitly or not between the earthquake that took place here and between the cultural quake, the event between the two, between the non-dialogue between Einstein and Bergson. And the link is really the question of meaning. Because when you have an earthquake, it loses, well, I'll propose a few concepts. Husserl or Doxa could do, the ontological security will do as well. If you lose the sense that you have a basic stability, that you have a basic ontological security, it's a trauma. It gives you strong, there can be strong consequences. And when you question time, when you refuse to human beings to enjoy the limited freedom they might have, it's also an existential issue, I'd say. So that would be the parallel I'm proposing. And then I'll be rapidly questioning the usefulness, although I've already done it, of questioning Whitehead in order to perhaps throw light on the various dimensions of Bergson's duration. Next, why Whitehead? You know, there are so many great philosophers. Everyone picks a philosopher that matches his or her own feelings, temperament. It depends on the style of the philosopher. However, in the case of Whitehead, there is an argument can be made insofar as it could be said that he is the postmodern Plato, which means that on the one hand he had a very broad mind as Plato had, and on the other he took into account the event, the symbioticos, something that was ignored by Plato. The sources we'll see later. Now, what does Whitehead do with regard to time? Basically three things. First thing, you will understand time from a relational perspective. There is no absolute time framework. Time is extracted from events. Now, let's see how this unfolds. But it's the way Whitehead systematizes the question of time matches interestingly what Christian was saying here. No, not get up, wake up, I'm talking about you. What you were saying earlier, I mean, which means, bizarrely, you have to have an atemporal framework. You have to understand the link between an atemporal framework and a temporal framework. So the event in the making is atemporal, in the case of Whitehead. And then you have an entire structure that is presupposed by space-time, and which is the extensive continuum. I'll say a word about that later. First thing. Second thing, he makes a difference between contemporaneity and simultaneity. Simultaneity is the concept that is used in physics, and that presupposes a framework. So it presupposes rods and clocks. Contemporaneity, on the other hand, is something that is lived. He will say, I'll give you the quote later, he will refuse to rely on light, like Einstein does, to define contemporaneity. He will say that everyone knows what it means to scratch both legs at the same time. That primordial understanding of simultaneity, if you like, he will call it contemporaneity. So anchoring the scientific understanding of time, of simultaneity in direct experience. And then the third point is exceptionally relevant as well. It's radical empiricism. So radical empiricism is the term that is used by William James in order to point at the fact that one should rely upon our own experiences and only on our experiences. And all of them. So it's not only a matter of accepting how the world is disclosed in sight, which is the main issue in science and in everyday life. All the other senses do matter as well. Touch matters, of course. Hearing matters. And as soon as you rely upon these different senses, you have another picture that is presented to you, another picture of the world. Because as you know, when you look at things, it gives you straight away the impression that you're a spectator independent of what is happening. Like if you were in the theater, seeing whatever way you call it in English, whatever, theater. Spectatorship, independent spectator. Whereas when you touch things or when you hear music, it gives you a completely different perspective of the world. But these are not, so the very first step is to take into account the five senses that opens us towards the external world, but we also have internal senses. It's called proprioception and interoception. Whitehead will speak simply about the witness of the body. So you have to take into account at this very moment the difficulty that it is to digest quite good meal. You see? And it runs at one point in that way. Go, it starts here. The end. And it takes an enormous amount of energy. But then it's still not the end of it, because sometimes you're half awake because you drank too much wine, or simply because you woke up late, or because you're jet lagged, or because you've used one of these substances that William James was fond of. And it gives you yet another experience. And so the point of radical empiricism is to accept all these experiences and see what philosophy can do with it. It does not mean, of course, that if you see a pink elephant in your bathroom, there was a pink elephant in your bathroom, but that claim has to be heard, and that claim has to find a place within the wide theoretical scheme. See, that's radical empiricism. Bon. And then the threefold route, I already said a word about that. You have to think at the same time creativity, efficacy, and vision. That's another way of putting it. Or, as I said in the first slide, rupture, structure, and adventure, which basically means that these are three different understandings of time. The creative event, for instance, is not temporal. It's linked with freedom, with creativity. It does not have really a reason. And that's the problem in philosophy, of course. We tend to ignore and to eliminate everything that cannot be given a reason to. We give reason to causes, causes to reason. It goes in loops. And as soon as there is something that for which we cannot provide a reason, we tend to ignore it. Creativity is a problem. Creativity is a gift. You cannot teach creativity. I know that at this point you have seminars, I'll teach you creativity. It's completely untrue. Creativity is something that you receive. The only thing you can do is to put yourself in the right state of mind to get an idea. Or you go to bed with a question and maybe next morning you have an answer. I don't know. So creativity, you won't teach creativity. Creativity is a gift. Creativity happens, and it's outside of any real rational framework. Efficacy can be taught. You can teach students how to write a paper. You can teach people how to communicate, perhaps, how to do slides, whatever. And vision, on the other hand, is the horizon that is used in order to propose a thesis, in order to, and there are various ways of explaining this, of using the concept. I mean, in the case of temporality, here it means that God is making sure somehow that everything works for the better, and that the intensities of all of succeeding experiences goes increases. Bon, I'll go back to this as soon as I have a student. Bon, shaping the foundations, I've already said it, mainly. Remember the Udoxa, the ontological security, I talked about it, the presentative faith, or what Arendt does with the concept of common sense. We rely willy-nilly upon that feeling of security, upon that feeling that tomorrow, of course, the sun will rise again, that the earth won't let us go. If this security is broken, you open the gate to a strong existential crisis. And the same goes with time. As I said, for a very simple reason, if you don't take time seriously, it means that you cannot break ever past causal chains. It means that you're not free, that you're stuck in the same pattern, that life has no meaning. That's how I boil it down. And in the case of Whitehead, or James Bergson, it's far more ambiguous. It means that events will have that epochal dimension, that atomic-like dimension, that bud-like dimension. The basic requirement is, as I already said many times, breaking past causal chains. If Bergson's duration is continuous, even if it's polyphonic, it means that what unfolds was already there at the beginning. So it begs the question whether there is real novelty in such a system. Bon, that's it. Alors, of course, Bergson said, tiens, I've just read an interesting book, The Concept of Nature. he refers to that idea of the creative advance of nature. And at the beginning, when Whitehead talks about the creative advance of nature, he has not clearly settled the matter himself. As you see here on the slide, the idea of the creative advance in the years 1920 is a perpetual transition into novelty, on the one hand. And on the other hand, the time series that are used by science is an abstraction from that very fact. So, if you limit the nature of time to the time series used by science, you ignore a huge amount of experience. It's like, there are many ways, Whitehead talks about it in different ways. That's the main interesting point. Now, with regard to Whitehead, just a second, I'm just providing the argument for what I said earlier. So why the postmodern Plato? Because just like Plato, he has studied, taught, and contributed to all the sciences of his time. He has tried to provide a coherent, unified system. But on the top of it, of course, he took into account the event, because the accident that Plato had no patience for. And of course, you can add another historical contingency. He was fully aware of the Einsteinian relativities on the one hand, the nascent quantum mechanics on the other, and of course, in the back of it, he was especially sensitive to Maxwell electromagnetism. So if you're interested in the relationship between science and philosophy, Whitehead is also a good candidate. And all this, you can mirror all this in the structure of processuality. We'll talk about that another time. Bon, alors, with regard to the foundation, the very first thing that you have to remember with regard to Whitehead is that he will understand time as he understood space. And so here in 1911 you have another ambiguity that will be settled on later. When he writes to Russell, he says, I'd be happy to treat time as I did with space. Basically, it's pointless geometry he was arguing for space. And here, the main point that will remain, though, is the fact that he gets rid of the instance of time. So there are at least two concepts of duration, for instance, in Whitehead. The first one in the concept of nature, etc., when he hasn't adopted that Bud theory, and then the second one with the Bud theory, where you can recycle the concept of duration in order to understand that extra, that atemporality of becoming. Donc, what about time in Whitehead? First, relationality. Second, that difference between contemporaneity and simultaneity. So that might be the relevant passage. So you have blind people and dark cloudy nights, and neither of them are deficient in the sense of simultaneity. To bark both their shins, it means to scratch both legs. So we know what it means to have simultaneity, if you like. From a conceptual perspective, the best thing is to distinguish contemporaneity, you scratch both legs, and simultaneity, where it involves a metric, basically. That's what science does. Bon, the third point is radical empiricism. I think I've already said the main things. So exteroception. Yeah, I brought my antenna for better communication, but I want to trick with that stuff either. Exteroception, these are the five senses open towards the external world. Interoception is basically the feeling of your own bowels. If you need to go to the toilet, if you feel nauseous, if you're thirsty, etc., etc. This is most of it is ignored in philosophy. Proprioception proprioception, sorry, is the sense of, is the capacity to specialize your body with the help of the hemicircular canals in the internal ear on the one hand, and then sensors of the term in English in your joints. So if your brain and your central nervous system is intact, even if you close your eyes, even if you're not drunk, of course, if you close your eyes, you know in which state you are. I'm standing, I have one hand in the air. You see? And all this will be summed up by Whitehead by the witness of the body. Basically, he does not spell it, but it also, it also means that we have an actual experience of relations. This is the argument against Hume, of course. We know what causality means. As soon as you take into account your own body and how it relates with the world, with other human beings, or even animals, plants, whatever, you know what causality means. You don't doubt about causality. And then the altered states of consciousness. I'll leave your experience of pragmatism. So you go there, boom, another one. Well, these are just exemplifications. This is Russell talking about Whitehead, who tells him, well, look, the world is not as transparent as you think. This is it's a bit funny, but at the same time it's a very important quote. Because since the Enlightenment, Western philosophers have had the tendency to think that the entire world is completely transparent to reason. And if the entire world is transparent to reason, if people, other fellow human beings are transparent to reason, it means, again, you have no privacy, you have no freedom, you will be told what to do, you could accept that somebody tells you how you look. Oh, you look sick, or you look thirsty. That's what you do to kids when they can't communicate. But as soon as they've organized their worldview and they're able to communicate, you leave them alone. Basically, it's just boom. Donc, this is important stuff. It's the one way Whitehead will have to foster that radical empiricism I was talking about a second ago. Meditate on your viscera. Bon, now the serious part. I have plenty of time, it's fine. Donc, if you refuse to appeal to ontology, then you can't sort out many epistemological difficulties. For those of you who teach phenomenology, for instance, you might have seen or understood that it was the main problem in phenomenology. I mean, what do we do with ontology? Do we dare to make an ontological claim, or do we stick simply to the appearances? From the perspective of Whitehead, it's very simple. You have to dare proposing an ontological system. It will help you sorting out issues. And of course, you have to make wagering, you have to make decisions, like the one, let us claim that life has a meaning. As a result, we have to provide the conditions of possibility of creativity, spontaneity, freedom, liberty, call it the way you want. And from one step to the next, you end up with the block theory, which brings you to other conceptual issues, of course, but still it provides you with a broad framework that could perhaps help you understanding not only epistemological issues, but also existential issues. Because I've mentioned trauma in the case of earthquake, in the case of refusing the possibility of freedom, for instance, but it's a basic requirement. If you are working like behaviorists, for instance, if you're working with the idea that there is no freedom, it basically means that nobody will ever be able to sort out a given problem. You cannot communicate the possibility of changing your own life, of bifurcating, changing lane or whatever, if you don't have that sort of presupposition. So it's not idle talk at all, basically, in case you had any doubts. Bon, alors, as I said, back to the initial question. If you want to understand time, let's say even from a commonsensical perspective, it means creativity, it means novelty. There is no, think about it, there is no, if there is no nothing, if nothing is new, there is no time. Huh? Now, creativity I call it wild because it can go in every possible direction. It's like, could be like chance, if you like. An event, if you think about a strong concept of event, it means that anything can happen. Well, this is very rare, of course. And Bergson, like other philosophers, will claim, well, look, we are extremely rarely free. It's extremely rare that we make a free move. We are always stuck by things. But we have to keep that possibility open, and sometimes it happens. Think about these people, I don't know the first thing I have in my head, these people who go and risk their own life to save somebody, someplace. And then you ask them later, why have you done it? And they say, I don't know. You simply jump, you do it, voilà. So it's not at all like choosing between possibilities that are there in front of you and thinking, well, shall I have a coffee, shall I have whiskey, shall I have water? I know the differences, I know the effects. It's not that at all. It's not that at all. So creativity is wild insofar as it springs. If you want to use a metaphor, sometimes I like to use the firework metaphor. You see, it will be simply the chromatic explosion when you see the pattern in the sky. It's just poof, the event and the emotion that is attached to that perception. Now, as I said earlier, these events, they don't take place in a complete void. There is sort of a structure, and there, let's put it in a very simple way, you've had past events. That's the question of the ontological nature of the past. It's a question of memory. An ontological memory means that what matters is what is really there. It's not only what I have what I've kept in my mind, what I've memorized, what I remember. It is what has happened. So, let's call it efficacy. But efficacy is strictly blind. You see, it's like, I don't know, you put money into a bank account, the numbers keep increasing, but there is no logic to it. Here, it simply means that the event, once it has happened, it settles in the past. So you have, on the one hand, something that is wild, anything can happen, at least in theory, and on the other hand, when it settles, it's blind. There is no value attached to it, if you like. Monod will talk about the interplay between chance and necessity. So, if you think about the interplay between the two, you could already see that there is some form of growth. But that growth is not necessarily a positive one. You can end up with monsters, for instance. Or you can end up with sort of an eternal return where the same pattern keeps coming back. So from the perspective of Whitehead, simply the interplay between creativity and efficacy is not enough. So he will add what I call vision, which is actually technically in his system God, and more precisely what he calls the initial subjective aim, which is basically that these are, I mean, he calls God, but another name might have been more appropriate, by the way, when he introduces the concept of God. But it basically means that God proposes an initial aim to all the events. And the argument behind that is fairly simple. Since all these events take place independently, there is no way to build some stability to obtain sort of a cosmos as we as we have the experience. That's one of the reasons why he introduces God. So, if that growth is directional, if you have a trend with, and that trend, he says, is towards the beautiful and the good, then you end up with something like the creative advance. So, from the perspective of the question of the nature of time, it means that, as I said many times, if you want to have a strong concept of time, you have to understand something like the creative advance. But, I'll do my little walk, what usually we call time comes from here. And it's not even that blind efficacy that is straight away called time. It involves a metric. So what we understand by time springs from here. It involves a metric, which means clocks, rods, if you like, whatever. And it does not involve the two other dimensions. Sorry. So this will be in Greek, it will be chronos. This will be something more like kairos. When you spring out of your seat because you have an idea, because you have an itch, because you have somebody to save, because whatever. So the atemporal is, and again we have the same issue, the same linguistic issue that has been raised many times. How do you say that the atemporal is prior to the temporal? Here we are stuck with language. But the thing about the experience of creativity in the way that I've presented it, if you like, creativity will be something springing from the unconscious. And if you want to understand the unconscious in a more clever way than usual, you could claim that the unconscious is the body. First thing. And that the unconscious is what anchors you in the living force, if you like, in the élan vital, if you like. So, in other words, double negation of the old Freudian pattern. On the one hand, the unconscious is not something stuck in your head. It's not a big bin made out of past traumas, bad experiences, fantasies, etc. First, it's in the body, and it anchors you in something that is positive. You see, donc creativity is of that order. Efficacy will impose some form of necessity on something that is actually without real reason, if you like. And then vision would be the ion, for instance, will be that sort of extra temporality that has been put by Aristotle in the supralunar realm. Donc, let us not obliterate all the dimensions of temporality. That was my main point. Then, okay. If you want to systematize it in a different way, introducing a couple of... yes, thank you for the translation, because I had done two numbers on the same page.
Let me a second.
Yes, I know. Okay. Yeah, okay. 7 plus 3.
Yes.
Yes. We're on the same wavelength. Traveling is great in general. Now, I'll boil it down. I mean, stop laughing and listen. Let's boil it down. Creative advance. Let's put it in a different way, but still with the same pattern, gathering the different concepts that I've mentioned so far. So, creativity can be said to be the name of spontaneity and liberty. This is how Whitehead will define the subject. So subjectivity is not anymore something that qualifies only the human being. Everything that happens, when it is in the making, when it is becoming, all these are synonyms, is a subject. A subject prehending past objects. The objects are here. So, but as I said, in order to understand spontaneity, creativity, you have to have privacy, you can call it duration, extratemporality if you like. Epocality is the name that Whitehead gives to the bud theory of James. So you read James if you want to spare yourself the pain of reading process and reality. It's fairly straightforward. Stop laughing at me. Some problems in philosophy. It's nice, it's not a finished work, it's even better, it's even shorter. The main stuff is there. So basically it means that substance is gone. No, substance is reconstructed with the help of a string of events. One event, one bud following the other bud. Bon. Subjectivity understood from the perspective of these buds. But when becoming has settled, Whitehead is talking about satisfaction, he's talking about perishing. You obtain an object, what I call efficacy. That objectivity is the seat of determinism. Once the event has happened, it settles. This is what defines the past. The past is there. It's done. You cannot change it. The only thing you can change is how you assess that past and what you will do with that past. In the case of human beings suffering from whatever, you will never change your past, of course, but you can modify how you assess your memories, how you look at them, and especially, instead of looking backwards, looking forward with a new goal. This can be done. Now, this is the discontinuous dimension in Whitehead ontology. But it requires continuity. So when I say privacy, it means, by the way, that when the event is in the making, what it says compressing, it's completely opaque. It cannot be, it's opaque. It's not even in the world. The way I see it, it is at the edges between the world and God. It seems to me that it's the best way to understand it. Maybe it's another issue. So temporality, time as we understand it in everyday language, is here. It becomes to objectivity, determinism, and 5 minutes, I suppose we are already to
5 minutes.
Okay. Because I said I have another slide about the extensive continuum because this is relevant to this conference. I'll talk about it in a second. And then the visionary dimension, if you like, Whitehead calls it, or it could be attached to the concept of superject. It's the idea that a subject will try to define how it is prehended in the future. Whatever the details, it does not really matter. If you can keep some intuition about what the creative advance implies, I think that it's already a good thing. Now, okay. This is I'll spend 2 minutes on this and then we're done. Donc, what's important with Whitehead is that actuality, full actuality, is what he calls the actual entity. When it is compressing, when it is becoming, if you like. You have quasi-actuality that are the prehension of the past, but what is relevant here, since we're dealing with relativity, the concept of time, as it is related to space, is uniform potentiality, which is often a bit forgotten. So, as I said, creativity relies or rupture relies upon structure. Creativity relies upon efficacy, and that efficacy is another name for potentiality. You have general potentiality that are sort of Plato's ideas, if you like. You have to define the different types, and it does not really matter here. What is important, on the other hand, is the real potentiality that he calls the extensive continuum, and the extensive continuum is a structure that is presupposed by space-time. So space-time actually will be abstracted, from the extensive continuum. The extensive continuum itself is not metrical. It's just a basic structure, and he says that the way the extensive continuum is built is through a binary relation that he calls the relation of extensive continuum, and he says it's a sui generis relationship. He barely defines it, but he gives very general properties, that's right. Non-reflective, symmetrical, and non-transitive. And that relationship works upon regions. You see? So I'm adding this, which is a tiny bit more technical, simply in order to embody that claim, which is important for the topic of this conference, that space-time presupposes a very general matrix of relationship, if you like. That is called the extensive continuum. Maybe that's the main point. And that matches what, I mean, I thought about that when Christian was, you again. Sorry about that. No, the slumbering is fine, especially at this hour. I mean, what you were claiming, I thought, Jesus, you should read Process and Reality Part 4. Between the cheese and la poire et fromage and the pear. Okay, so, voilà. Donc what I've tried to do on the one hand was to simplify matter, but as you see, I've added also a bit of technicalities here or there. So keep the simplification and inquire about the technicalities if it seems to make sense to you. Voilà. Thank you for your attention. I suppose that I'm on. Good.
Take questions.
So I may have missed something when you were talking about creativity and freedom and so forth, but it seems like you only emphasized, or Whitehead only emphasized the unpredictable side of freedom, which leaves aside the moral understanding of freedom in terms of giving oneself the rule and so on. And one of the lovely things about Hume is his discussion of how a certain amount of determinism and predictability in our behavior is absolutely required for us to be free agents in a meaningful sense. Is that present in Whitehead also?
My understanding here of what freedom involves basically springs out of Bergson, what I understand of Bergson, which basically means that as long as you are stuck with rules, as long as you are constrained in your judgment or in your action by something that is there in front of you, what shall I drink, water, whatever, you're not free. It's free. Freedom amounts to picking pre-existing options. Being really free is when you create, when the possibility is not prior to your action, but is being created by that action. You see that argument?
Thank you.
So now we are added that is something. It is clear that pragmatically speaking, you need a bit of room in order to keep the house together. Of course. And then the question is, of course, how far do you have rules that are general for everyone, like the incest, for instance? Is it really something that is present in all cultures, and so forth and so on? Whitehead, I don't remember, maybe somebody remembers something specific about that. Maybe I think
Yes, so thanks a lot. I enjoyed very much your talk and this need of taking seriously all of our experience of time, which of course includes also the time that we mean when we do science, but it's only part of it, and I think that's very important. But my question is related to that, because looking at this kind of dynamics that you described, you earlier you said that the meaning that we normally give to time is the one that is relating to the efficacy, right? Which is blind, which is bound to determinism, which is the time that we use in physics, basically.
and clocks.
And clocks, yes. Yeah. On the other hand, what we recognize today is that looking in the cosmic history, we seem to have clear hints of creative advance in what happens in the universe. I mean, it's difficult not to recognize that if you go back in, 14 billion years from now, we have an essentially formless universe, and now we have a lot of richness. So, how is it that, how do you comment on it? Because it seems that this science-related deterministic time is not capable of creativity, if I understand correctly, the scheme.
Sure, but you're talking about something like a living spring, like a complexification that happens.
Yes.
On the one hand, and on the other hand, you're simply giving me numbers. It happened that long ago. I don't understand really your question. I mean, I don't.
What I'm saying is that it seems that the physical time has been able to produce a lot of richness. The universe itself has created. You understand?
But the point is not that first thing, physical time. It's like if you were making out of time an entity. Physical time is not acting. You only have events.
Right. So events can also be part of nature. Doesn't necessarily involve human freedom.
Of course.
That was my point.
Okay, and then the point of Whitehead, of course, would be to say, look, if you understand that evolution from a purely materialistic perspective, you cannot understand that movement towards complexification.
That's a big
It's simply, well, actually, the concept of matter is an orphan, as you know. Usually, we in most culture, we understood the globality of our experience through matter, of course, but also mind and soul sometimes, or mind and God. And as soon as you get rid of God, you don't understand anymore how matter and mind are related. So you drop mind. Usually now we only have matter, but the concept of matter comes out of the Trinity. You see? And Whitehead says very, very simply, look, if we have to take seriously that concept of matter, it will never evolve. It's just pure determinism. So it simply means that you need another concept of matter. Anybody?
Well, I think it can be looked at in another way. As long the mathematics of physical theories use probabilities to speak of randomness that cannot be nullity, because probabilities require giving a measure on a pre-given phase space. And that's the current situation. All physical theories evaluate randomness in terms of probabilities, which implies having a measure on a pre-given space, so there is no creativity. Instead, in evolution, you cannot set the probability of a forthcoming phenotype, which does not exist. You do not have the list of phenotypes that will be here in 1 million years. There is no way to give probability then, because you don't have already the list. That's the major barrier. Evolutionary randomness cannot be probabilized, in contrast to any form of randomness in physics, which is mathematized with probability on a necessarily given space.
So what's your point?
My point is that I'm trying to embed your discussion and your approach that I like to imagine widely into discussion today about time. Time is there because there is unpredictability, because there is randomness. The time of all existing physical theories is characterized by randomness, which may be measured by probability.
Okay, but randomness, it means that everything is given. You're simply tossing. It's like
No, you're confused. That's the probability of physics. In evolution, there is not the thing which is already given as a phenotype. Randomness as unpredictability in evolution cannot be probabilized. You cannot do probability. In all existing mathematical theories that my colleagues here in physics use, any form of randomness can be evaluated by a probability measure, which assumes that you already have the space of possibilities as given, and so you set a measure and you give a probability. That's the major barrier between physics and biology, evolution, and biology accommodates your notion of creativity, which is a randomness without probability. Well, what you are saying very informally, I'm choosing between a given list of stuff. This is the probabilized situation, which is not the randomness of biology in evolution in particular. But where you cannot associate probabilities to unpredictability.
there might be another way of putting it. From the perspective of Whitehead, the laws of nature are just the habits of nature, and these habits can change. We can speculate about the current habits, perhaps guess the past habits, but we don't know about the future ones. You see?
But there are many ways of not knowing about the future. All my colleagues in physics here
again,
do not know about the future and accord probabilities to random. Okay? And this is physics. As soon as you have evolution, you cannot associate probability to randomness, which is unpredictability in time. Okay? That's the major barrier. And Whitehead is talking like Bergson of life. Biology. So, unpredictability is a randomness that cannot be associated to probability. In contrast to all what do my colleagues here, they always have a probability space underlying because they use mathematics.
but I haven't talked about probability or randomness.
That's right, because we agree. The only one is what you are saying, what I'm saying, that we said in very precise terms and said there be a conceptual barrier between unpredictability in physics, which is mathematized, and unpredictability in biology, evolution, that cannot be mathematized.
Okay. But then
We have to move on for another question.
Yes. Thank you so much for your very interesting talk. I have one question. In your opinion, the philosophical intuition is placed exclusively creativity or also crossing efficacy? Or if there's a space of synthesis between
well, I've used the term in a loose manner, the term intuition. So basically what I'm saying is that if you want to understand an author, it makes sense to try to have the broadest way of picturing that worldview, if you like. So I've picked the creative event, which helps me to present Whitehead perhaps in a less technical manner, first. And second, it helps organizing actually what it does in process and reality, especially in the categorical framework the canonical scheme that is straight at the beginning. So you have, it's a hermeneutical question. How do you picture, or how do you try to see what he has seen, or better, to touch, to feel, to, you see, that's the issue. If you really want to understand a philosopher, it's like understanding a human being, but how do you do it? Hermeneutical question.
Okay, any more questions?
I'd like to make a comment about free will. I don't believe in free will of my conscious self. When I'm facing difficult decisions, I think about them, and then the decision emerges out of my unconscious, which is both in my brain and in the environment around me. But I don't find my life in any way boring. I find it extremely interesting. I've enjoyed it all the time I've been here, and I'm just waiting to see what happens next day. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I think this obsession with determinism, if it is determinist, I'm still quite happy to wait and see what happens, even if I fall under the bus tomorrow.
Don't you think that we agree, or?
Well, you seem to say that determinism was an appalling thought. I don't find it necessarily so appalling.
Well, as long as it does not obliterate the other dimensions, you see, as long as you leave room for other understanding of what it means to be a human being within an environment, as long as you don't understand everything from your clock, for instance.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I certainly have a very clear feeling of all my senses telling me I'm passing to a certain instant, and it's going forward. I certainly said that, I mean, I love music, so I certainly want to play note or test my experience. I was at a conference in Zurich not long ago where I started saying I don't believe in free will, and all the quantum physicists, they got absolutely desperate. They want to have free will to explain the Bell inequalities. They thought I was mad. But afterwards the young chaps came up. Well, between you and me, we agree.
Okay, good. Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, it's a pleasure for me to introduce our next speaker, Mauro Dorato from Roma Tre University, and we'll talk about mental time travel and the problem of the passage of time. Mauro Dorato is a philosopher of science and also a mathematician. And his research includes not a mathematician. No. If you receive a PhD, no, I mean that's okay. But I wanted to be. I will cancel. Just erase. He's a philosopher of science. He studies philosophy of time, quantum gravity, free will problem, and of course philosophy of physics. What do you know?
Who knows where it is? Hanno tolto qualcuno ha tolto
Well, I want to start by thanking you, Einstein, for this event. And I want to thank Alessandra Bella. I want to wish happy birthday for Alessandra. Where is it? She left.
She's there.
Ah, but she's not listening to me. Alessandra, I'm wishing you happy birthday.
No,
Someone told me about this. You can relate in
tomorrow is my birthday.
but tomorrow. Then your
On a
father.
secret, I have to repeat
Then
it.
your father. Well, I think it's more important to remember what happened 10 years ago. So I share Chris' words here. I think it was a great initiative. It was a great idea to celebrate what happened here. It's a terrible disaster. And it's great to see it in Latvia. It's just slowly, maybe too slowly, growing again. And so this is the title of my talk. Of course, we have an outer clock, which is sidereal motion and the motion of the sun. But we have an inner clock, which is here on the left side of our body, which is our heart. And sometimes I'm just struck by the idea that our heart keeps on pulsing, and without us knowing it, I somehow calculated the number of pulses for an 80 years old man. It's about 2.5 million. So we know that time passes just because we can simply calculate this.
Billion.
Billion, yes. I said it. I'm sorry. It's just digestion. So the problem I have, of course, is a problem that's been raised by many people here. Namely, how can we conciliate the time of physics, I'm sorry, he said I'm going to talk about time of physics, and the time of our experience. Sometimes we don't know what our experience really is. I mean, sometimes people think and talk about the time of our experience as if it was where here expression. I don't think it is. And so the claim is very ambitious. I want to claim that there is no irresolvable conflict between the time of physics and the time of our experience. Well, first of all, I think we should distinguish between two senses of passage. One that's given by irreversible succession of events. I like the idea of events. Where is Marcel? I think my talk will overlap with his. So I think it's an easy task to claim that given the initial conditions of the universe, macro passage is something that, interpreted locally, as real as this computer. In another sense, it is the hard task. We want to claim that reality consists in this successive coming into beings of present moments. And previously non-existing events come into being. That's the idea. I think that is connected to our experience of time. Now, I want to introduce my talk with a dialogue. I didn't know that this morning. I have Jen had prepared a dialogue, but here I have prepared it out because it's 4 o'clock. And then I will start with two indubitable facts and their necessary conditions. Indubitable facts about our experience, which have to do with some evolutionary facts. Then the crucial question raised by these two facts, I have no answer to this question. Maybe some hints. One possibility is to go metaphysical and try to explain why time passes. Then you can try to use physics and try to claim that becoming is a local phenomenon having to do with fairness. It's a sort of coming into being of events in succession. And in the final part, I will ask help from my collaborator Mark Tiefman, where I will try to introduce this notion of mental time travel in order to make sense of our capacity to anticipate future. Dialogue. You know, sometimes common sense view of time is assimilated to the man in the street view of time. Well, philosopher of time, do you believe that time passes? Incredulous or angry stare of the old man, are you kidding me? No, I mean it, I'm an expert in the philosophy of time, and I learned after many years of hard work that time doesn't pass. We are all under an illusion. The old man shows the philosopher a picture of himself, herself, when he was 20. Have a look, he says, or she says, and look at me now. In this sense, you are right, the philosopher says. The philosopher says time passes because there are irreversible changes in our bodies, and changes in the local world around us, and changes are events. So, there are macroscopic events succeeding one another in a reversible way, and that's all there is to the passage of time. So, there is an agreement here between the old man in the street and the physicist. You can recognize this picture? Yes. This is as real as this computer thing. Passage consists in irreversible changes. But now the question is, which of these is now? And of course we're tempted to say, well, none of these pictures now, they're all past, but relative to us. So this is the second point that I'm trying to argue. But now the dialogue continues. In addition, time passes because our memories accumulate. The remember now associated to the picture, when I was 20, was taken from a different perspective. Now I expect that this stupid conversation will end, and still later we remember this was an annoying experience. What counts as now changes. True, says the philosopher, our memories accumulate, and we anticipate future events by presupposing that there is an identity or continuity of the self across time. But reality does not grow by accretion of facts. There's no preemption in wanted talk. So there is no passage of time. Everything exists in block. So this is the way in which the so-called block theorist represents the old man talk. There is this big cylinder, which is basically a representation of the old man's existence from the birth to the death. This is the event coinciding with his birth. This is his 50th birthday, 87th birthday. But look, the event E-birth is in the past, but E15, E87, you anticipated that, is in the future of E. And so all of these events are linked by relations, which are basically always unchangeable. Well, the old man applies every day, and this is crucial. Every day, the number of days I have to live diminishes by 1 unit until I pass away. The now is always different, and this is why time passes. Time passes approximately 1 heartbeat every second. So there is this silly objection, why does time pass? It doesn't make sense that the now moves. It doesn't make sense to ask how fast time flows. Well, maybe time flows 1 second per second. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I would say, well, time passes 1 heartbeat every second, or more precisely 1.16 heartbeat per second. Maybe this is a plausible view of time. And the guy keeps on saying, no, these are relational facts about persons, stages, and times that don't change. And this is the picture they insist there. Now, in philosophical jargon, this distinction and this debate can be reconstructed in this way. Suppose that Mom comes home. Where are you guys? Alice says, I'm here. And Bob says, I'm here. They are in different places, but there is no true here, of course. Both utterances are true. Here refers to the location occupied by the speaker. Same for I. If I were to ask you, who is among you the real I, everybody would raise their hand, because from your perspective, each of you is I. So I refers to the speaker. If we were to defend the objectivity of hereism, we would have to claim that Alice and Bob, one is wrong and one is right. There is just one objective here. But the same goes for now. There is no true now. Now serves to specify the time of the actions. On the other camp, of course, people want to claim that now is an objective property of the universe or of a subset of the universe. Independently attributed to a point, say, if you want to be very stingy about time, and independently on the speaker's perspective, I actually agree with this treatment of the now. So the now is a very, is a perspective. When I claim this is now, when I claim my talk is going on now, I'm just offering you a perspective on whatever exists later and before this now. It's like being here or being high or being you. This is the fact that I wanted to bring to your attention. This neurophysiologist, one man, claims, and I think this is really undisputable, the function of our brains to anticipate the future. That's what basically our brain do. We would not survive if we were not able to anticipate the future. But if we anticipate the future, we obviously have to use past information. So basically, we use our memory. There's a lot of information encoded in our memory. And we anticipate something that does not exist as of the present. Otherwise, talking about anticipation would make no sense whatsoever. So these two assumptions imply that we believe in a self-persisting time. And this is made possible, as my friend Mark claims, by something going on when we refer to our working memory. So the fact that we remember what happened, say, 8-9 seconds ago, helps us to construct this notion of the self-persisting in time. So I think that given evidence from evolution 1 and 2 are true, unassailable, and there is a sense in which also 3 is true. But now, the crucial question is, even in a relational setting, relative to my present anticipation of a future event, E will occur, or occurs at the time TE, which is later than T now, relative to my perception of E at TE, E is present, that is my perception of E simultaneously T, some E, relative to instances that are later than T sub E is remembered and is therefore past. And now notice the same event, the same physical event, is looked at from 3 different epistemic perspectives. Anticipated, perceived, and remembered. So how can this be possible? And this is something I cannot answer really. How can the same event be first anticipated, then perceived, and then remembered? Which, and this is my attempt, which metaphysical, physical, and maybe neurocognitive aspects can make this possibly possible? And do we need all of these ingredients, metaphysical, physical, and neurocognitive aspects? I remember I once spoke to Hilary Putnam, and someone asked him, Hilary, are you an analytic philosopher? He said, no, I'm synthetic. So philosophy serves the purpose of putting things together. You have one image coming from physics, one image coming from the neurocognitive aspect. I'm not an expert in neither of those. I'm discussing with Mark about the neurocognitive aspects. I've been trying to learn some physics. I struggle with metaphysics, which to try to come up with a unified picture of the world, because this is what philosophy is about. we need a unification of these different branches of culture. And this is, I think, what Husserl insisted on in his 1935 book, The Crisis of the European Sciences. So philosophy has a very important purpose to serve, putting things together. Answer. Remember, this is the question. How can the same event E be first anticipated, then perceived, and then remember? I think this is the crucial question, which is raised by the problem of the passage of time. I will first discuss a coherent answer, the metaphysical, the physical, and then the neurological answer. This is what you get if you talk to a static theorist of time. He claims, well, we change our temporal perspectives about events, remember, anticipation, perception, remembrance, in the very sense in which we change spatial perspectives about events. I can move away from the table. Since there is no passage in the case of space, there is no passage in the case of time. We treat time in an analogous way. But my response to that is passage involves the order of succession. This is Leibniz's definition of time, and there is no succession of events in space relative to a point. And space, in Leibniz's work, is the order of those events. So changing our spatial temporal perspective involves time, and therefore this first point can be rejected. Now, shifting to the metaphysical approach, there's one way to solve the problem. The passage of time is a primitive feature of the universe. There's no way to analyze the passage of time because any attempt to explain the passage of time would just go against this assumption. It's such a fundamental aspect of the universe that you cannot explain in terms of something else. And of course, if you want to take seriously the fact that we live in a small environment, you don't want to go to cosmic time. And I was discussing with a couple of very brilliant physicists before about the status of cosmic time. Well, I want to claim that time passes locally along our shared nows 1 second per second, or if you want, 1 heartbeat per second. And one reason why I want to defend this primitivism about the passage of time, that laws are not time reversal invariant. You have the CPT violation. You want to claim, well, the weak interaction are not really so clearly connected to the other areas of time, like the thermodynamical area or the advanced rather than retarded area in the electromagnetic branch of physics. But in any case, something that I think is unpalatable, this option is just this fact that basically, according to modeling, if you want to talk about the passage of time, you need some sort of time-like vector field, which is everywhere non-zero. But I feel that this is just a necessary condition for a passage of time. And it doesn't tell us really what the passage of time is, even though, of course, you want to claim that it's a primitive notion, but it's not clear how it is connected with physics. So I don't mind primitivism, but I think that if you define the passage of time in terms of this time vector field, which is nowhere now, I don't see how you can connect this with some more physical notions. I'm sure you are familiar with these 3 different metaphysics of time. I endorse none of them, but this is the idea that the presentists like. Only the present event exists. And then now we have the problem of relativity and the cosmic time function, and past and present exist, and past, present, and future exist. I defend a version of this, which I think is ineliminable if we want to understand our experience. First of all, information comes from the past. So everything becomes, so to speak, actual when we interact with something that already occurred in the past, from the past icon. So basically reality grows by accretion of past, but it's a local growth. Because I am not really inclined to believe that the cosmic time function can do very much to explain our local experience. This local accretion of facts is sort of uncorrelated. You don't have a universal tide growing. You just have this sort of crisscrossing ripples that are not necessarily correlated, of course, are correlated. But if you consider experiences of observers in Andromeda and even in further, in galaxies that are further away, there is some uncorrelation. We only need some local growth. And I mean, the idea here is that we act for the sake of the future, so we anticipate the future. And if you want to take seriously this thought, you have to assume that before you act, there's nothing, really nothing. Now, how to understand this is really a trick, because I don't want to get into that. But this picture just gives me two facts about our experience. One, the past is fixed. Why is it fixed? Because all causal messages come from the past. And the future is open in the sense that you have to make room for the fact that when you act, you bring something into being, which previously did not exist. We don't change the future, by the way, we bring it into being. But that's a minor comment. How much time do I have?
20 minutes.
5?
20.
Ah, okay. I was panicking. Well, this is of course, these are sketches. I mean, I'm not claiming that these are complete pictures. Of course, these are just hints for a research program. Very ambitious, as you can see, but putting things together is what philosophers should be doing. The physical explanation just goes hand in hand with what I just said. I think someone quoted Whitehead before. Whitehead claims that events don't happen, they're just there. Who quoted Whitehead before? Anyway, this is, I think, wrong, because events, the very nature of events is just the fact that they happen. There is no difference because an event's essence is the fact that it happens. So you cannot distinguish between the being of an event and its happening. These are one and the same. So what passage of time amounts to in the physical world is a local succession of events coming into being relative to a given point. And this position has been criticized today by Carl in a very brilliant way. It has been defended by various philosophers, Dick Sever and myself. But of course, this local succession of physical events, be careful, is a necessary condition to causally explain the succession of conscious experiences of anticipation, perception, and memory. If I had to catch a ball in the present, the motion of the ball must cause my anticipatory motion that enables me to catch it. So there is a succession of events. I causally interact with these events, but I could not explain the succession of conscious experiences unless I just, believed in the fact that there is a real succession of physical events with which I interact. Notice how important it is for my body to anticipate what happens in the world external to me. This succession I want to claim is sufficient to explain this heartbeat fact that I introduced at the beginning to explain why we tend to believe that there is a passage of time. And I think this could be a hint toward explaining the existence of these three different perspectives if the locally growing block is correct, because now I'm anticipating something that doesn't exist, then a series of events basically will, so to speak, move, and this is the metaphor that is really difficult to understand. It will basically hit the anticipated event, and then this event will become part of my past. Well, now, the hard part, Mark, I need your help. The role of mental time travel in anticipating the future and remembering the past. Mental time travel has been extensively studied by neurocognitive scientists, and this is the capacity to project yourself in the past or in the future. It basically is grounded on episodic memory. Episodic memory is the memory that helps you to, for instance, remember what you did in the first day of your school. It's really a visual, it's a visual reconstruction of the past. And it's located, I think, in the hippocampus, right, Mark? Yes. And when you travel in the past, you basically use this episodic autobiographical memory, while basically mental time travel, of course, needs to involve episodic thinking. It's like pre-experiencing an event by using induction. Remember that you anticipate, you leave the experience, and then you remember. And that's, I think, something that we still don't understand. You can use this model. Events, one after the other, accretion of reality. But something needs to move, otherwise we cannot make sense of this anticipation, experiencing, remembering. One way maybe to understand what happens here is that there is some sort of human capacity to travel in time, obviously it's a metaphor, which presupposes certain neurophysiological structures. And here I'm just relying heavily again on Mark. Contribution to the literature. My claim, this is I think original with me, is the last one, but one can claim that our brain functions like a discrete structure that integrates events at different scales. The shortest scale is a scale which allows us to distinguish succession between events, auditory events or light signals, and these are threshold integration windows. For instance, these are really linked to actually related sensory schemas. I think that the fastest system to detect earlier and later events is the auditory system. It's like 20 to 30 milliseconds. Then, if you're presented with two light signals in front of the screen, you can tell whether one is before the other, only I think, above 50 milliseconds. But when the time gets shorter, you cannot tell there are two. And if you consider that this interval is about 30 milliseconds, you multiply that interval by the speed of light, and you get an enormous amount of space, which explains why we share the now, basically. Our brain can integrate succession only in certain thresholds, but we live in an enormous bubble of simultaneous events. Then there is a second integration window, which of course is very important when you listen to music, because you remember the note that was just played, you anticipate the note that is about to be played. And in language, when we understand someone, of course, we have to remember what this someone has already said. Very often we anticipate what the other wants to say. We remember situations in which we just provide to our speaker the world that he has now encountered in his mind. We need some sort of extended window of presentness, if you want, the species present. The fact that the psychological present is not a knife edge, as William James had it, it's somehow extended in time. We find this view in Husserl and other phenomenologists. And this is the difference between physical time and psychological time. That's the third integration we do that has to do with the continuity of the cell over time. And then this is my claim, very speculative. Mental time travel piggybacks on number 3. That is, we build the capacity to anticipate even more future events that are separated by our present experience by an arbitrary amount of time. So we create allocentric temporal map. There is a self-centered map, egocentric map. For instance, you look at a map, you're here, and that's where you're located. But you can certainly move away from the here and try to project your body to another position in the map. And if you want, you can look at yourself from that particular viewpoint. In the same sense, you can look at yourself from other temporal perspectives. So there are these different temporal methods we can build, which entail the capacity of anticipating and, of course, remembering. There have been claims that, I want to read this quotation, the evolution of the capacity to simulate possible future events based on episodic memory. This is really important here. Iconic memory, based on visual and auditory features. Enhanced fitness by enabling action in preparation of different possible scenarios that increase present or future survival and reproduction chances. And this is an interesting claim by Suttendorf, who studies the evolution of language. Human language may have evolved in the first instance for the sharing of past and planned future events, and indeed fictional ones, further enhancing fitness in social setting. And the third, final quotation, the here and now become a vantage point not only for actually experienced journeys, but also for mental ones. Well, I think now I'm almost done. I was already mentioning this. And when we talk about the future, what is really the case? I mean, think about the future anticipation. What happens is sometimes you project yourself in this future that you're anticipating and try to look from that vantage point to the present self. Think about decisions that we have to take, which are very difficult. Sometimes we use this sort of regret mechanism. Suppose I have to do this or that. What would happen if, in the future, I were to look back into the present moment? And would I regret more this decision rather than that? This important trait that we find in rational decision theory is linked to the fact that we can project ourselves in the future, look back, and judge from that perspective how would we feel from there if we did something here and now. Well, this, I think, is not sufficient to explain the problem that I mentioned at the beginning, but there is one problem here that I think is worth exploring, and this is the fact that we explain the passage of time by using spatial metaphors. We're going through a distinct period. The future is ahead of me, the past is behind me. This is, of course, cultural dependent, because I think there is a tribe in the Amazons that thinks that the future is on our back and the past is in front, because, of course, we know more about the past than about the future. I think in Chinese, in Mandarin Chinese, it's down the up and down direction. But we need space to understand time. And I don't know why that is the case. That might be an answer in the neurophysiological and neurocognitive fields. As far as I know, there are some papers that I think Mark knows better than me, where people have tried to discuss the neurophysiological basis for this mental time travel and mental space travel, and it seems to me that these two capacities rely on different neural mechanisms. But basically, I want to close with this centers by putting together at the same time different eccentric mappings, we build an allocentric temporal map, where our parent now occupies a point in the temporal map as when we locate our position here in the map. But the question that I raised, where is it? No, this one, sorry. So we have this very same event. We first anticipate it, then we perceive it, and then we remember it. This very event. So what explains this? I still don't know. Maybe there is this accretion of facts, but we really had this idea of a motion through space-time. And I think that, as far as I know, no science can explain this. And metaphysics cannot explain this. And physics cannot explain this. So I am at a loss here to make sense of this. And maybe it's just a stupid question, but what I'm asking. I leave it to you. Thanks.
Marco, are you done the first question?
Yes, of course, you had to pick the one. Maybe I need to attribute it to you round.
Yeah, but maybe I have a mini question. Because actually we have discussed this before, but it still haven't got the answer. And for example, we wrote a paper together about what is the noun.
Yes.
You wrote basically one part on physics of noun, and I wrote part on the psychology of noun. And we sort of always have this word juxtaposition. When wanting to put this together, we are juxtapositioning physics of noun and psychology of noun.
No reduction.
Yeah, and or whatever relationship. And here I was at the feeling first you get three talks. One was a metaphysics person, philosopher of metaphysics giving a talk, then a physician giving a talk, and then a neuropsychologist giving a talk.
Only one person. Let's try the Trinity.
That was a good trick, but so this is my question. So is there a relation besides putting it next to each other? You have the three columns, metaphysics, physics, psychology, and besides putting these columns next to each other, is there a connection between the three? Similar to the Einstein-Bergson, there's a physics of time and there's a psychology of time. But are there some more things?
Well, I think that physics can give you the necessary condition in order to make sense of the fact that we have successive mental states. Unless you presuppose that there is a real succession in the physical world of events happening one after the other, you cannot make sense of the fact that we have a succession of mental states. So there is a necessary condition between what physics tells us about the world and what we experience about it. I don't want to be reductionist here. We know too little about the mind-brain interaction. And maybe the metaphysics part, about which I'm more confused because I'm not so friendly with metaphysicians. But I think it makes sense to claim that if you want to make sense of the fact that we bring about future events, you have to assume that there's just nothing after the moment of which I act. What sense could we make of the fact that we anticipate the future? What do we anticipate from the present perspective if the future event is not there? So we have to assume that the past somehow is past, and the future isn't. So that's why I like the idea of this growing block, but I don't have a block because I believe in the fact that you have very, very many different creeks that grow, but there's not one simultaneity hyperplane that connects them all. Modular cosmic time, which I think, it's a different problem here. I don't deal with it. So, one necessary condition for the other, one necessary condition for the other. I want to put them together, but I don't know why. I don't know how, I'm sorry. I don't know why I want to do it. I think I know why I want to do it. I want to understand, and understand means putting things together.
So you said that the local succession of physical events was necessary for there to be some sort of causally explained succession of conscious experiences of subsequent anticipations,
Yes.
perceptions, and memories. But it's sufficient only in the case we basically have a metaphysics of a growing block, if I understood it correctly.
Yes.
Why do you think that just the block universe could not be sufficient? Because surely the local succession is there as well. Sure. Some element that seems to be needed in addition wouldn't be there, presumably. So what exactly is it? I'm trying to understand what exactly it is that keeps
Okay,
that
well,
being sufficient.
so maybe you understood from what I was saying, and maybe you were right, that if you put together a growing block view and the fact that events succeed one another in time in a irreversible way, if you put these two things together, you can explain why we have a succession of mental states.
Yes, so why you need the first element?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my worries. I mean, maybe we just need physics and psychology and we can do away with metaphysics. But I think we have to have a sense according to which we have to make room for the fact that we act. And by acting, we bring about something that previously wasn't there. And if you have, it wasn't there in a very simple-minded sense. I mean, we've been discussing about the triviality objection, which a lot of people don't know about. I think it's a way of making sense of our experience, that's it. But of course, I would have to think more carefully about this. The block answer is, I mean, it's not crazy, of course. But then you need some sort of, who's talked about Russell theory of change? I mean, one relation is birth at a certain time, another relation is 15th birthday at another time, another temporal relation is 18th birthday in another time. These give you change, of course, but they don't give you this dynamic picture. This, of course, is change. I mean, the electromagnetic field here is different from the electromagnetic field here, and this can be understood within the block. So you do have change, but there's no dynamic aspect in the block. You just have relations here, right? So is there a change? Yes. It's like the zero paradox. It's at zero moment. The arrow is completely at rest in any single moment, but it is in a different location at another moment, and gives you change. I'm happy with that. But in the case of the experience of time, there's some ingredient missing, which I don't know how to capture, and maybe that's one way. I assimilate this picture with the idea that there is this constant growth. But I mean, I'm sympathetic to your viewpoint as well, so I don't know. Here.
And now thanks for
Oh, there you go. I didn't see where you were.
Carl Simon, to protect me.
You don't need to protect them. Not from
I
the
just
answer.
wanted to, so you mentioned Chinese and Hebrew for sure, and I think in most Semitic languages, the future is behind and the past is, so this is expressed in various locutions. So for example, at the end of the days in Hebrew, the word is behind. The end of the days is the day behind us, and the picture of us in time is going
away
backwards. Yeah, you're looking at the past and you're moving into the
because you don't matter about. Because the future is basically unpredictable.
Exactly, so the future is unseen.
Yeah.
See what. Okay. So my question, which you probably will not be surprised by,
why don't you subscribe to the block universe? Why do you need the growing block? I mean, it seems like everything you say is completely compatible with the block universe. I understand you prefer the growing block because somehow you feel it captures the openness of the future in some way, or what you just said, bringing about into being something that wasn't there. But that's all this talk, all this attempt to catch with words, as you know, we've been discussing this for a long time, is incoherent. Doesn't work. So there's a simple way out, which you just mentioned. Let's just drop in metaphysics, or more accurately, let's just drop in ontology. We don't need to think of the tenses in ontological terms in terms of what exists, what doesn't exist, what's true, what's not true. All this is a kind of a noise that is created by philosophers, and who are then surprised that they don't hear reason anymore.
Yeah.
Drop that, and I think if you do that, then you go back to the other theme of this conference, which is Bergson, James, let's call this pragmatism, common sense and pragmatism. And I think there you have a very good answer to the question you started your talk with. It's just this constant pull to try to metaphysicalize, ontologize our understanding of time, which doesn't work. And I don't really understand why cling on to it. Sorry.
Yeah, as you know, I almost made a career by writing papers in which, I was trying to prove that there's no difference, or there's no genuine debate between the so-called eternalists and the presentists.
Right.
So, I'm sympathetic to that view. I was trying to, maybe sort of put in doubt about a little bit, question this previous view of mine, and there's something missing in the block. But
in the
blocks, yes. But I understand the real task is putting physics and neurophysiology together and the experience of time. So these are the three angles of a triangle, and this is what we need to do, put together experience, which is not the same thing as neuropsychology. It's not the same thing. And physics. I don't want to be reductionist about this, but this is the way. This is the way I would go, because I don't like it.
So why don't you just give up on all this block, growing block, presentism?
Maybe I should do that
Just to say that all that is kind of a false attempt, which ends up in some kind of incoherent formulation. And do what you said you could do. I don't know, physics, psychology, neuroscience.
Yeah, but this picture that disturbs me.
Get rid of it. It disturbs everybody.
Well, my paper would be shorter too.
So if you don't take Chris and Yuval's advice and you stick to the growing block, since you've got, you insisted it be local, not the kind that I would be more fond of, do you pick the pointy up growing block or the down pointing growing block that Rosenkranz and Correa advocated, and if you pick one over the other, why?
I think they're one and the same.
So they literally say different things about what's real from a perspective. Why do you say they're one and the same?
Well, in one sense, reality accretes by the circumstance. And in the other, the future basically shrinks.
No, there is involved.
In both.
But there's this, the events in what we call the absolute elsewhere, for one, are, as it were, already real, for the other, they're not, and of course, epistemologically.
Okay.
But I was wondering if you have thoughts about it.
Well, I haven't really read Correa and Rosenkranz. I know Correa was a big one that. Most of those trees that way, and all of these should be traps.
So the lit fuse theory of time.
Yes, the burning fuse theory of time. But if you think that you can have a succession of events without all of these pictures, I would agree. Because maybe we should stop doing this, which is somehow unrelated to science. So, I take your advice.
Okay, so Elvira.
Thank you very much for the talk. It was very stimulating, and so I have a more clarificatory question. So you mentioned language and music, so I have a question just to do with sounds. And so there is a physical view about sounds, which sounds that they are events. Right? And so I'm going to use an example which take sounds as events in order to see if I got right the crucial question you are investigating. Which has to do with this idea that the same physical event, E, is not different, right? It's not different within each different temporal perspective. So when you listen to an event which is a sound, you need to anticipate it, right? So there's a moment, like, so relative to my present anticipation, right? You imagine that such an event, a certain sound will occur at time E, right? So in this case, this event that you are imagining it's just present in your imagination, right?
Yes, but it's not there physically.
Yeah. So how then you're gonna listen to it when the event probably occurs, right? So you're going to listen to it. So when then the sound occurs, you're going to listen to it, right? So you're going to listen to the physical event. So my question is that how is that possible if we are talking about the same physical event? Because before you were just imagining it, so it was just present in your in your mind, in your imagination, as a certain event, which then maybe can be different from the one that you are actually listening to. So I'm not sure that the physical event is the same when you are actually hearing it and when you're just merely anticipating it. I don't know if it's clear.
Well, of course, in music, events are really not point-like. From the physical viewpoint, you have an oscillation of molecules in the air, but of course, on the psychical viewpoint, music is completely different. I was thinking about that example that you find is it Lloyd?
And Lloyd and Lloyd.
Yeah, where you listen to Hey and then you anticipate Jude.
Okay.
So the note hasn't been played, but we anticipate what's going to occur. And of course we remember what has just been played, and this is why we can perceive the melody. So it's not just a series of detached notes. We can bring them together because we have this capacity of integrating information coming from the physical world. I don't want to say it's a product of our mind, of course, but the fact that we integrate is indispensable in order to perceive the melody. We don't perceive a series of different notes. Of course, in the physical sense, there is some continuity in this sort of motion of the molecules, but it's our integration that makes the difference. You remember what's being played, you anticipate what's going to be played, and not just in an interval of 3 seconds. I mean, apparently Mozart could, perceive a melody even if it was very temporarily spent. I don't know whether that's true or not. But it's like really anticipated the whole symphony somehow. So it varies from individual to individual, the amount of notes that you can really integrate into one experience. But I think that's indispensable. If you don't enlarge the interval of the present experience, you cannot make sense of the fact that we understand language, that we can appreciate a piece of music. And so that's, I think, one of the ways in which we still have a conflict between the physical time, which is instantaneous, and the time of our perception, which is obviously not.
Have you thought about shifting from a block space-time or a grey one to thinking about the history of the universe in configuration space? Because effectively already with Lagrange, when he developed the principle of least action, implicit in that was the notion of a possibility space, all the configurations of the universe, all the dynamical system it was considering. The expression configuration space was made explicit by Heinrich Hertz in his book in the 1990s. Yeah. And I now advocate
shape space, and there you have the whole history of the universe is a curve in its configuration space, and it seems to me hugely significant that quantum mechanics is defined on configuration space, not a space. And there's this wonderful story when Schrödinger created wave mechanics. Almost immediately Einstein wrote to him and said, "I love your theory, it's magnificent." A few months later he said, "What a pity you've defined it on configuration space and not on ordinary space." Both Schrödinger and Einstein struggled. They rejected, their intuition was to reject the configuration space. But it seems to me there's never going to be a satisfactory theory of what the universe is doing. This seems to be extremely anthropocentric, this idea. It's Hermann Weyl goes back who says our consciousness is going up the world line. The universe is moving through its configuration space, or I would claim through its shape space. And we're all just part of the universe, tagging along, being wrapped up in another story. And that seems to me will never make sense of it if we have this anthropocentric view of our continued existence. I'm not the same person as I was at the start of this meeting. I'm constantly changing, and it's only because there's a certain congruence that you can say that I'm still Julian Barber. That's one of the remarkable things about science. I think one just needs to think about these things in a different way. We must philosophize about these things differently. It's Kepler said.
Well, configuration space is an abstract mathematical model unless you want to claim that you cannot understand quantum mechanics unless you imagine that the wave actually evolves in configuration space.
It's defined in configuration.
That's what Barrow claimed. I think that configuration space is a model to understand what happens in the physical world. I would be very anti-realist about configuration space. Oh, sorry. It's time to go. Okay, we should continue later. Yes, yes.
Sorry,
No, I'm sorry. What's going on? Time for coming back.
Let's we start. So I present you the next speaker, who is Pierre Montebello, a philosopher. He teaches modern and contemporary philosophy at the University of Toulouse. His research interests include philosophy of nature and metaphysics, stakes of modern and contemporary philosophy from Mendelbiran to Deleuze, and he deals with the thought of Nietzsche and numerous authors of the 19th and 20th century French philosophy. He's a member of the Bergson Society. I'd like to remember you some books. I can skip. Okay, so I'll give you the floor. The title of your talk is The Test of Time from Nature to Man. He will speak in French. I'll give you the floor.
Très bien, merci Rocco, merci Alessandra, merci à tous ceux qui ont organisé ces belles journées. Je vais essayer, dans un propos qui va être centré sur Bergson, de situer Bergson dans l'histoire de la philosophie et dans ses thèses essentielles. Je vais prendre la suite de ce qu'a dit Rocco ce matin, c'est-à-dire je vais rappeler ce que c'est que la durée quand même chez Bergson, parce que si on ne rappelle pas le concept de durée, c'est très difficile d'entrer dans le propos bergsonien. La durée, c'est donc l'idée qu'il y a une continuité du passé, du présent vers l'avenir. La durée implique donc nécessairement une forme de mémoire, elle implique aussi une forme de conscience et elle implique enfin un changement. Partout où il y a déplacement dans l'espace sans changement, nous ne sommes pas dans la durée. Tout ce que la science décrit comme translation n'est pas de la durée. Tout système qui se contente de réaménager ces éléments n'est pas de la durée. Donc on va partir de ce point de vue assez clair de Bergson pour poser maintenant une question qui a été peut-être le point le plus difficile du système bergsonien.
Elie Turing a commencé en disant que la grande question de Bergson, c'était peut-être la coexistence des durées. Comment est-ce qu'on fait coexister les durées dans un même univers, c'est-à-dire la durée de la conscience, la durée de la vie, mais aussi la durée de la matière. Or, le propos de Bergson est très clairement d'essayer de refaire une cosmologie après Kant. Il veut repenser le cosmos et articuler les différences du cosmos au sein du cosmos. Devant ce projet, la plus grande difficulté qu'il affronte, c'est le problème de la matière. Il est très visible que la conscience est une forme de durée, nous en faisons l'expérience. Il est très visible que la vie est aussi une forme de durée, c'est très clair. Mais la matière, c'est beaucoup plus compliqué. Qu'est-ce qui va montrer que l'univers matériel lui-même contiendrait une forme de durée? Il se pose une question que tous les philosophes de la fin du XIXe se posent, à savoir, comment est-ce qu'on peut relier le temps psychique et le temps matériel? Il considérera, lui, et donc là je parle de Bergson, il considérera que c'est peut-être d'ailleurs le titre de gloire qu'il revendique le plus, c'est-à-dire ce dont il est le plus content dans son système, c'est d'avoir réussi à montrer, dit-il, dans l'évolution créatrice, que le tout, je le cite, est de même nature que le moi. Dire le tout est de même nature que le moi, c'est très simple, ça veut dire le tout est une forme de durée, comme le moi est une forme de durée. Simplement, ce ne sont pas les mêmes durées. Mais alors, comment est-ce qu'on va vers ce tout qui dure? Comment est-ce qu'on atteint ce tout qui dure? La thèse de Bergson est très claire aussi. Il l'exprime en 1908 à la Société française de philosophie, et il dit, lors d'une réunion avec des philosophes, il dit ceci: on saisit le tout par un approfondissement du moi. Très énigmatique, comment le tout pourrait-il être donné par un approfondissement du moi? Mais la méthode est assez claire. Contrairement à la physique, on ne se donne pas un objet externe. On se donne un objet dont le mouvement est concomitant d'un mouvement de conscience. Le tout n'est pas saisi de l'extérieur, il est saisi de l'intérieur. Il est saisi dans sa capacité à me transformer. Il est saisi dans sa capacité à me faire changer. L'exemple du verre d'eau sucré est très simple, mais elle est aussi très éloquente. Quand je bois un verre d'eau sucré, il faut que j'attende que le sucre fonde. C'est-à-dire qu'il faut que j'attende qu'il y ait un temps de l'univers qui concorde avec mon temps. Or, il ne concorde pas, je suis obligé d'attendre. Je suis obligé d'attendre que le sucre fonde. Ainsi, le mouvement de l'univers est saisi à l'intérieur de ma propre conscience comme quelque chose qui n'est pas mon propre temps. Cette méthode de partir de soi pour penser l'univers, nous allons la développer ici, mais j'aimerais déjà faire remarquer que c'est une méthode que Matière et Mémoire avait déjà développée. Dans Matière et Mémoire, Bergson avait souligné que percevoir, ce n'est pas un processus subjectif. Percevoir, c'est être placé dans un univers qui, lui-même, possède une sorte de mouvement. La perception implique l'univers, elle nous place dans l'univers. En même temps, Bergson ajoutait quelque chose qui est tout à fait remarquable. Ce n'est pas la perception qui éclaire les choses, c'est la perception qui est éclairée par le mouvement des choses. Il renversait ainsi, d'une certaine manière, une option philosophique qui était l'option philosophique idéaliste, selon laquelle la perception ajouterait quelque chose à l'univers. Non, la perception est moins que l'univers. La perception est quelque chose qui soustrait quelque chose à l'univers. En d'autres termes, si je vois quelque chose, c'est parce qu'il y a déjà de la visibilité à l'intérieur des choses. Si je vois quelque chose, c'est parce qu'il y a déjà des images, lumière à l'intérieur de l'univers. Ainsi donc, dans Matière et Mémoire, on pourrait dire, comme dans l'évolution créatrice, que Bergson, je le redis, est très content de sa découverte, puisqu'il le répète encore à la Société de philosophie en 1908, et il dit, dans ses 2 livres, « J'ai montré que l'univers matériel était immanent à la perception que nous en avions. » Il ajoute que l'acte de connaissance du sujet, quel qu'il soit, coïncide avec l'acte générateur de la réalité. Alors, nous comprenons bien le projet de Bergson. Le projet de Bergson, c'est de dire, je vais essayer de penser une durée de l'univers dans la manière dont elle se connecte avec ma propre durée. Et il a des alliés, parce que, comme l'a dit Rocco ce matin, Bergson pense avec la science, et il se demande si la science ne pourrait pas l'aider à montrer que l'univers a une durée. Alors évidemment, pas la science qui immobilise la matière, mais la science dans son devenir moderne. Et c'est là que je voudrais insister sur la manière dont Bergson se sert de la science de cette époque. Matière et mémoire s'inspirent de l'électromagnétisme, de Thomson, de Faraday, pour montrer que, au fond, la matière solide qui avait été la matière que l'on croyait pouvoir représenter à travers des atomes, des corpuscules, des grains de matière, que cette matière solide, peut-être, au fond, n'est qu'un ensemble de rayonnements, qu'un ensemble de champs de force. Il écrit donc, dans Matière et mémoire, nous voyons s'évanouir, à fur et à mesure que nous approchons, nous voyons s'évanouir les derniers éléments de la matière. La discontinuité que notre perception établissait à sa surface, eh bien, elle est en train d'être supprimée. L'analyse psychologique nous révélait que cette discontinuité était factice, relative à nos besoins. Toute la philosophie de la nature finit par la trouver incompatible avec les propriétés de la matière. Dans un geste assez étonnant, ce que Bergson va chercher dans la science électromagnétique, c'est une dématérialisation de la matière. Il s'agit de dématérialiser la matière, c'est-à-dire doter de la matière tout ce qui pourrait constituer des points solides, des grains, des corpuscules, des atomes. Bergson cite Maxwell, qui dès 1864 a montré que la lumière est une forme d'onde électromagnétique, même s'il faut attendre 1924 pour que les particules de matière telles que les électrons soient considérés aussi comme possédant aussi des propriétés ondulatoires et qu'on se mette à parler d'ondes de matière, reste que la matière atomique se dissout dès cette époque en champ immatériel de force. La science électromagnétique va plus loin puisqu'elle présente les atomes, et même la pénétration atomique de Faraday, comme l'intersection de lignes de force. L'atome ne serait rien d'autre que l'intersection de lignes de force. Il serait même, dit Bergson, une simple vue de l'esprit. Ainsi, dans la nature, semble montrer la science aux yeux de Bergson, il n'y a pas de corps solide, simplement des rayonnements, des ondes, de la lumière. Par conséquent, il n'y a aucun hiatus entre ce que la science nous fait percevoir, c'est-à-dire un univers qui dure, et ce que la science nous fait percevoir, c'est-à-dire une fluidité à l'intérieur de l'univers. De sorte que Bergson réintroduit une continuité essentielle à la durée interne à l'univers. Je le cite, parce que vous n'êtes pas obligé de me croire sur parole, dans l'évolution créatrice, il dit donc « Plus la physique avance, plus elle efface l'individualité des corps et même des particules en lesquelles l'imagination scientifique commençait à la décomposer. Corps et corpuscules tendent à se fondre dans une interaction universelle. Cela est confirmé bien plus tard par la pensée émouvante, quand celui-ci confirmera cette ligne d'analyse et dira que nous pensions, tôt ou tard, que la physique serait amenée à voir dans la fixité de l'élément une forme de mobilité. Au lieu des représentations rigides, spatiales de la science elle-même tend à substituer une sorte de mobilité, d'écoulement, de flux de la matière. L'image du mouvement se substitue à l'image rigide du corps physique. Bien sûr, tout n'est pas gagné pour autant, et Bergson sait très bien que la plupart du temps, ce mouvement de dématérialisation de la matière n'est pas acquis par la science. La science continue le plus souvent à décomposer l'univers en systèmes clos, avec des lois de conservation, mais on va passer sur cet aspect. Le plus important, c'est de comprendre que si l'intelligence a tendance à représenter la matière à l'intérieur de représentations rigides, eh bien, la science contemporaine de Bergson et Bergson lui-même voient une autre alternative à cette compréhension de la matière. Si l'intelligence est donc spatialisante, on peut dire qu'au contraire, la philosophie et la science contemporaine ont une tendance à contrecarrer cette spatialisation de la matière. Simplement, le philosophe doit aller plus loin que le savant. Le savant reste dans son domaine, et le philosophe, c'est celui qui doit réussir à connecter les différentes portions de durée. Bergson considère donc que la tâche de la philosophie n'est pas simplement d'enregistrer les résultats de la science. La tâche de la philosophie est plus profonde. Elle est de montrer l'interaction entre la fluidité de l'univers et le moi lui-même. Dans l'évolution créatrice, le programme de Bergson est donc très clair. Le philosophe doit aller plus loin que le savant. Faisant table rase de ce que c'est qu'un domaine ou qu'un symbole imaginatif, il voit le monde se résoudre en un simple flux, en une continuité d'écoulement, en un devenir. Il se prépare à retrouver la durée réelle là où elle est. Ainsi comprise, la philosophie n'est pas simplement le retour de l'esprit à lui-même, mais la coïncidence de la conscience avec le principe vivant d'où elle émane. Contrairement au savant, le philosophe apporte donc cette idée que cette fluidité qu'est la durée, qui existe dans l'univers, il doit montrer comment elle se connecte avec la conscience. Autre point que l'évolution créatrice ajoute, et qui va dans la tendance à cette modernisation de la science, c'est l'interprétation du second principe de la thermodynamique. L'interprétation du second principe de la thermodynamique, comme vous le savez, qui explique donc l'idée qu'il y a une tendance anthropique de l'univers, une tendance à la spatialisation et à l'équipotentialité énergétique, eh bien, Bergson considère là encore que ce principe de la thermodynamique doit recevoir une explication métaphysique. En réalité, dit-il, le problème est insoluble si l'on se situe sur le seul problème, sur le seul terrain de la physique. Bergson ajoute, pour expliquer la présence de l'énergie dans l'univers, il faut autre chose que les lois de conservation physique de la science. Le physicien peut expliquer comment l'énergie se dégrade et tend vers l'entropie. Ce qu'il ne peut pas expliquer, c'est la présence de l'énergie à l'intérieur de l'univers. Par conséquent, le physicien n'ira pas chercher à répondre à cette question cruciale qui est comment expliquer la présence de l'énergie à l'intérieur de l'univers. Et on voit que, contrairement au physicien qui, c'est pas son problème, il n'a pas à traiter de cette question, Bergson, lui, pense que on doit relier justement cette question au problème de la conscience et au problème de l'élan vital, puisque nous avons des domaines où il y a création de formes dans la vie, mais où il y a aussi des actes libres créatifs dans la conscience. Nous devons donc nous demander si l'univers lui-même ne doit pas être interprété à travers une supraconscience ou un acte libre qui créerait le monde et le ferait retomber dans une direction anthropique. Peu importe donc comment on va poser ces questions, on voit bien que la manière dont l'univers est pensé par Bergson ne peut absolument pas être séparée de la manière dont il pense la durée de conscience et la durée vitale. Il établit des analogies. Sa méthode, c'est l'analogie. Sa méthode, c'est de comprendre des analogies de mouvement. S'il y a un mouvement dans la nature, est-ce que je peux établir des analogies entre d'autres mouvements que je saisis mieux, comme par exemple la durée de conscience? C'est ce qu'il appelle la méthode sympathique. Il s'agit de sympathiser avec d'autres mouvements en partant du moi. Alors si on résume un peu tout ce qui vient d'être dit, on voit bien que l'interprétation de l'univers ne peut absolument pas être considérée comme un fait externe. Et c'est là que j'entre en débat avec tous les physiciens qui ont parlé jusqu'alors, c'est qu'on voit très bien que Bergson ne considère pas du tout que la connaissance de l'univers puisse être détachée de la manière dont nous participons à l'univers et dont nous sommes impliqués dans l'univers. L'univers n'est pas détachable de ce que nous percevons et de ce que nous concevons. Il n'est pas détachable de ce qui se transforme hors de nous et en nous. Nous ne changeons pas sans que les choses changent. Et inversement, les choses ne changent pas sans que nous changions. Le monde ne se transforme pas sans nous, et nous ne nous transformons pas sans le monde. Seules des philosophies idéalistes, solipsistes, peuvent croire le contraire. Je voudrais donc, pour revenir au débat entre Einstein et Bergson, revenir sur un propos de durée et simultanéité qui me semble extrêmement clair, et sur un très beau texte de Bergson qui le dit très clairement. Nous percevons le monde matériel, dit Bergson. Et cette perception nous paraît, à tort ou à raison, être à la fois en nous et hors de nous. Par un côté, c'est un état de conscience. Par un autre, c'est une pellicule de matière. Où coïncident le sentant et le senti. À chaque moment de notre vie intérieure correspond aussi un moment de notre corps et de toute la manière environnante qui lui est simultanée. Cette matière semblant alors participer à notre durée. Cette idée d'une participation du monde à notre durée et à l'inverse d'une inclusion de notre durée dans le monde, sans cela, il n'y a pas de bergsonisme. Je le dis clairement. Bergson, c'est ça, et c'est pas autre chose. C'est pourquoi il peut dire dans ce même passage, cette phrase qui me semble superbe, « Nous vivons une vie cosmique autant et plus qu'une vie individuelle », qui rompt définitivement cette idée d'un spiritualisme bergsonien, d'un subjectivisme bergsonien qui n'a absolument aucun sens. Je voudrais souligner l'importance philosophique de ces thèses et dire ce qu'elles représentent. Parce que ce que Bergson est en train de nous montrer, c'est que l'univers n'est pas un cadre objectif. Ce n'est pas un cadre spatio-temporel hors de nous. L'univers, nous le saisissons en acte, dans notre perception et dans notre manière de vivre. Il est enveloppé en nous, il est impliqué en nous, il est replié en nous. Il s'agit bien de donner sens au fait que cet univers, nous y participons, mais en même temps, lui-même participe à notre manière d'être. Nous sommes, en gros, immergés dans un univers lumière qui dure. Pourquoi c'est si important pour une théorie de la nature? Parce qu'il n'y a pas de philosophie de la nature qui n'essaye justement de comprendre ce rapport entre dedans et dehors. Toute philosophie de la nature qui, d'un côté, reste bornée à la subjectivité ou de l'autre à l'objectivité, manque absolument sa finalité. En d'autres termes, si on peut dire qu'avec la science, nous découvrons un univers lumière et en même temps une histoire de l'univers qui dure, Il ne faut pas oublier que cet univers-lumière n'est pas en nous sans que nous soyons aussi en lui. Au point que, je reviendrai sur cette magnifique phrase de la pensée et le mouvement, Bergson dira « Il y a la lumière, mais nous sommes des vibrations dans la lumière. » Très belle phrase de Bergson dans l'évolution, dans la pensée et le mouvement. Et dans l'introduction à la métaphysique, ce grand texte méthodologique qui dit presque l'essentiel de la philosophie de Bergson, il dira « Il y a une réalité extérieure et pourtant immédiatement donnée à notre esprit. » C'est le immédiatement qui est absolument, je veux dire, non physique. Cette réalité extérieure, elle est immédiatement donnée à notre esprit. C'est pas un objet média, c'est pas un objet extérieur, c'est pas un objet figé ou inerte. Cette idée donc de tracer un plan de nature où, eh bien, le sujet appartient au plan de nature en même temps que le plan de nature le traverse, n'est pas une idée très neuve de la philosophie. C'est même une idée qui a été fréquemment utilisée par les grandes philosophies de la nature. Par exemple, si on prend le spinozisme, la substance naturante traverse tous les modes, elle est impliquée dans les modes. Hein. Et en retour, les modes développent la substance naturante. C'est le cas de Leibniz. L'âme n'est pas dans le monde sans que le monde ne soit dans l'âme. C'est le cas de Bergson. Hein. C'est le cas de toutes les grandes philosophies de la nature. Je veux donc ici rappeler, mais parce que je suis obligé d'aller très vite, mais cette phrase de Bergson dans l'évolution créatrice qui rappelle cette inclusion que nous avons dans l'univers et cette inclusion de l'univers en nous, quand il détournera la phrase de Saint Paul pour dire « dans l'absolu, nous sommes et nous nous mouvons ». Dans l'absolu, nous sommes et nous nous mouvons. Ça ne veut pas dire que nous appartenons à un absolu qui serait déconnecté de nous. Ça veut dire au contraire que ce que Bergson saisit, c'est la connexion des durées. On ne saisit les durées que dans leur connexion. On ne saisit pas de durée en soi, mais dans leur connexion. Je rappelle en même temps, pour aller dans le sens de ce que je viens de développer, les écrits de morphologie de Goethe, qui me semble avait une intuition qui était déjà géniale à cette époque, quand Goethe dira « Il faut, en observant la nature, respecter toujours la partie comme le tout. Rien n'est dedans, rien n'est dehors. Car ce qui est dedans est dehors. » Cette formidable double inclusion qui caractérise les philosophies de la nature. Et ce n'est pas un hasard si, pour le faire comprendre, Bergson va recourir dans la pensée et le mouvement précisément à l'exemple des couleurs qui sont des longueurs d'onde. Son vocabulaire va traduire maintenant définitivement l'opposition entre figure rigide et figure fluide. Je lis ce passage parce qu'il me semble résumer ce que veut dire Bergson à ce sujet. De même manière qu'une conscience à base de couleurs qui sympathiserait intérieurement avec l'orangé, au lieu de le percevoir extérieurement, se sentirait prise entre du rouge et du jaune, et pressentirait même peut-être, au-dessus de cette dernière couleur, tout un spectre en laquelle se prolonge naturellement la couleur qui va du rouge au jaune, ainsi l'intuition de notre durée, bien loin de nous laisser suspendus dans le vide, comme le ferait la pure analyse, nous met au contact de toute une continuité de durée. Bref, il n'y a pas de solipsisme bergsonien, il n'y a pas de monade bergsonienne. Notre durée nous met au contact avec tout un ensemble de continuités de durée. Et c'est là donc que on pourrait ajouter cette idée d'une vibration lumineuse à l'intérieur d'un plan de lumière. Alors, j'ai dit que j'allais partir du contexte bergsonien et j'aimerais resituer à nouveau le contexte des études bergsoniennes. Comment il utilise la science, comment il la fait jouer à l'intérieur de son propre système philosophique, mais aussi ce que ça dit d'une époque, ce que le bergsonisme dit d'une époque. Ce que le bergsonisme dit d'une époque, c'est parce que ce n'est pas le seul au début du XXe siècle. c'est-à-dire le passage d'un monde d'images figées, statiques, à un monde où l'on doit percevoir ce qui se trame sous les images, c'est-à-dire l'imperceptible, lumière qu'il y a sous les images et qui les anime. L'évolution créatrice s'inscrit dans un mouvement très large de dématérialisation de la matière, qui est un mouvement de dépassement des corps et des choses vers leur source lumineuse, vers le mouvement intime et secret des choses, vers un univers lumière. Ce n'est pas la première fois que s'établit, je le rappelle, un tel renversement. Là encore, il faudrait citer Goethe et son traité des couleurs, lorsque celui-ci dit « l'œil doit son existence à la lumière ». Ce n'est pas l'œil qui voit, c'est la lumière qui fait l'œil. Nous replaçons lui aussi à l'intérieur d'une philosophie de la nature. Mais c'est tout un ensemble de pratiques culturelles qui sont en train de changer. Et pas seulement le bergsonisme. En 1913, le manifeste rayonniste de l'Arianov voit le jour. Et ce manifeste rayonniste a la même ambition que la philosophie de Bergson. Je le cite. Le style de peinture rayonniste que nous proposons a pour base de dépasser les formes spatiales et de montrer qu'elles surgissent de l'intersection des rayons réfléchis sur les objets. Par convention, le rayon sera représenté sur une surface par une ligne colorée. Les objets que nous voyons dans la vie courante ne jouent aucun rôle dans le tableau rayonniste. Fin des objets, fin du monde de la représentation des choses. Au contraire, saisir l'énergie qui transite à travers les choses. L'attention est attirée, dit Larionov, par l'essence même de la peinture, et l'essence même de la peinture, c'est justement cette concentration des masses colorées. Bergson, dans son durée et simultanéité, dit exactement la même chose à propos de l'expérience de Michelson-Morley, quand il dit « c'est la figure de lumière qui impose ses conditions à la figure rigide ». Ne peut pas être plus clair. En d'autres termes, la forme rigide n'est pas la réalité elle-même, ce n'est qu'une construction de l'esprit. Et de cette construction, c'est la figure de lumière seule donnée qui doit fournir les règles. Encore une fois, c'est seule la figure de lumière qui est donnée. Au même moment, donc, on a l'impression que la philosophie cherche à se détourner de la représentation spatialisante des choses et même de la représentation corporée des choses pour aller vers une conception plus énergétique, plus lumineuse, plus rayonnante de l'univers matériel. Et je rappelle que maint manifeste esthétique du début du XXe siècle, non seulement le manifeste rayonniste, mais par exemple le manifeste suprématiste de Malevich auront exactement la même vocation. Ne plus peindre les choses, peindre leurs pulsations immatérielles, leurs pulsations monochromatiques, retourner à l'infini qui n'est pas les objets, mais qui est derrière les objets, rendre visible ce qui est l'invisible, rendre perceptible la lumière imperceptible qu'il y a derrière les objets. Il ne s'agit plus de peindre le visible, mais ce qui rend visible, comme le dira Klee. Je cite ce texte de Malevich parce qu'il me semble assez extraordinaire. L'homme fait authentiquement des tentatives pour révéler l'authenticité, dit-il dans La lumière et la couleur. Il veut retirer son masque aux choses et aux actions du monde pour jeter un coup d'œil sur la face authentique du monde. Cet acteur du monde se dissimule, c'est-à-dire celui qui est derrière les choses, et il faut le rendre visible. Évidemment, il y a là un projet pictural, il y a là un projet aussi culturel qui dépasse largement la philosophie, l'esthétique, et qui embrasse toute une culture. Je veux donc terminer là-dessus en disant que, néanmoins, ce que la lumière, le Bergson révèle de cet univers lumière qui est très présent chez lui, et de cette idée qu'il y a un univers qui dure et qui ne peut pas être résumé au corps physique, eh bien, évidemment, on ne peut pas le comparer simplement à une expérience esthétique. Le rôle de la philosophie, c'est de donner un sens conceptuel précis à cette expérience lumineuse. Et je pense que c'est ce que Bergson aura réussi à faire. Le bergsonisme, en voulant construire un nouveau plan cosmologique, est obligé d'articuler 3 strates très différentes. Un plan d'univers matériel lumière, un plan vital, un plan de conscience et même un plan de supraconscience. Et la question pourrait se poser, elle a été posée par Elie Düring, y a-t-il un temps qui coiffe ces différentes durées? Y a-t-il un temps qui rend homogène ces différentes durées? C'est ce que Elie Düring essayait de penser dans la forme du temps. Y a-t-il une forme du temps qui permettrait de comprendre ces différentes durées dans une unique formule? Je crois que le bergsonisme, sa réponse, c'est non. Le temps est une expérience de l'hétérogénéité, de la différence. Le temps de la matière n'est pas le temps de la vie, qui n'est pas le temps de la conscience. Le temps de la matière est dilué, dilaté. Le temps de la vie est déjà beaucoup plus synthétique. Le temps de la conscience davantage encore. Ce ne sont donc pas les mêmes formes de durée qui sont perceptibles à l'intérieur de l'univers. Ceci dit, Bergson aura réussi quelque chose de fondamental, c'est dont il faut mesurer le prix et le geste en faisant en sorte que la matière, la vie, la conscience soient des formes de durée. Il établit la possibilité de communication au sein de l'univers. Il établit la réalité de flux qui se traversent. Il établit la possibilité qu'il y ait communicabilité entre des êtres qui n'ont pas la même durée. Or, quand on part du dualisme du XVIIe, dans lesquels les choses sont incompatibles, incommensurables, on mesure la force du geste bergsonien. Comment rendre les choses communicables? Comment les rendre compatibles, malgré leurs différences? Comment faire qu'il y ait, comme dit Bergson, des durées communicantes? Et le plus gros travail de Bergson sur ce sujet, celui où il aura eu le plus de mal, c'est véritablement celui sur la matière. C'est pourquoi le livre « Durée et simultanéité » est un livre si difficile, si complexe, écrit si vite, dans lequel il y a comme une urgence, écrit presque en 6 mois, et sur lequel il y a beaucoup de choses obscures, mais qui vont progressivement, dans le cours de son œuvre, être mieux traitées. Je dis donc, et je refinis sur ce sentiment-là, je crois que la grande force des philosophies après Kant, c'est peut-on encore faire de la cosmologie? Et ça veut dire ne pas s'en tenir à un seul plan d'expérience, mais intégrer tous les plans d'expérience à l'intérieur d'une même compréhension. Voilà, je m'arrête là.
Oui, je souhaiterais faire simplement deux remarques. L'une méthodologique d'abord, qui va rejoindre entièrement ton propos, c'est sur la méthode, parce qu'effectivement, comme tu l'as signalé, il y a toute une tradition méthodologique en philosophie de la nature qui va faire intervenir. L'exemple de Leibniz est le plus important. Je veux simplement ajouter expressément ce que dit Leibniz, parce que je crois que ça va au fond du problème. Il dit nous avons en nous, qu'est-ce que nous avons en nous? D'abord, l'être lui-même. En conséquence, si nous avons l'être l'être lui-même, ça veut dire que le moi est une sorte de laboratoire de la métaphysique. On peut peut-être pas tout y trouver, mais on peut y trouver beaucoup de choses. Voilà, c'est cette première remarque. La deuxième remarque, c'est que tu es parti de la durée comme c'est commun chez Bergson, mais il me semble qu'en un certain sens, la théorie de la mémoire joue aussi un rôle essentiel, spécialement parce que dans le dernier chapitre, le matière à mémoire, en apparence, c'est un livre de psychologie. Bon, dans le dernier chapitre, Bergson va nous dire que les différents plans de ce qu'il appelle les plans de conscience dans la mémoire sont ce qui dit expressément la série des êtres. Par conséquent, ce que nous rejoignons par la méthode métaphysique, c'est directement la question de l'être. Et par là même, la question de la nature est d'emblée dépassée. Et si elle est dépassée, a fortiori, elle est incluse. Voilà, c'est tout ce que je voulais dire.
Je suis 1000 fois d'accord et je te remercie d'avoir jeté cette précision sur l'être parce que, évidemment, l'être pour Bergson c'est la durée, mais c'est exactement le même propos que chez Leibniz.
Oui, je voulais revenir sur les deux choses que vous avez dit à la fin de votre intervention, en particulier sur la question qui concerne la possibilité d'identifier une sorte de ton général qui coiffe les différents niveaux, les vitales, les matériels, le psychisme, etc. Et la dernière chose que vous avez dit à propos de la tâche de la philosophie après Kant, la tâche que vous avez dit. Et à la première question, vous avez répondu que d'après Bergson, il n'y aurait pas un temps qui coiffe toutes ces dimensions, et donc il y a une pluralité originelle, indépassable. Mais la question que je voudrais vous poser, c'est, ça signifie qu'il n'y a pas d'ontologie fixée une fois pour toutes. Et donc, que l'ontologie peut effectivement muter et en correspondance à l'exigence bergsonienne de trouver une place pas seulement à l'organisme, mais à la vie. Ça signifie à quelque chose qui est capable d'échanger dans le temps, qui n'est pas seulement du temps, mais qui va changer à travers le temps.
Oui, mais je pense tout à fait que vous avez raison. C'est-à-dire il n'y a pas d'ontologie fixe. L'ontologie, c'est simplement... c'est une expérience intégrale, hein. C'est une intégration d'expérience. C'est un peu ce que dit William James. C'est-à-dire quand Bergson dit au fond qu'est-ce que c'est que la vérité, il n'y a pas de vérité en soi. La vérité, c'est ce que nous réussissons à cohérer de l'expérience. Voilà. Nous faisons un travail de cohésion d'expérience. La métaphysique fait un travail de cohésion d'expérience. Hein. Il n'y a pas de... Ce qu'on doit appeler vérité, c'est non pas quelque chose qui serait là avant nous, c'est la manière dont cette cohésion de l'expérience marche ou pas. Voilà. Est-ce qu'on peut intégrer des pans différents de notre expérience dans une même compréhension? Or, ce qui va reprocher justement à la physique, la plupart du temps, il dit, bon, très bien, la physique, elle touche le réel à un certain niveau, il n'y a pas de problème. On ne va pas accuser la physique, il ne s'agit pas de dire que la physique, c'est une illusion. Mais on peut lui dire, est-ce que vous intégrez bien dans vos schémas l'expérience, par exemple, évolutionniste ou vitale? Est-ce que vous intégrez bien l'expérience psychique? Bon. Et le gros travail de Bergson, dans son dialogue avec les sciences, avec Lamarck, Darwin, Faraday, Maxwell, c'est justement d'essayer de prélever dans ces sciences ce qui permet la communication. Voilà. Et ce qui permet d'appréhender une expérience large et d'intégrer cette expérience large dans une compréhension univoque de la nature.
Je voulais préciser un aspect de mon monde. Ouais. Quand je disais qu'il n'y a pas d'ontologie fixe, je voulais dire qu'il n'y a pas un nombre préfixé des types d'existence, pas seulement quelque chose qui devient.
Ouais.
En conformité au changement des types qu'on peut retrouver dans la nature vivante. Donc il n'y a pas seulement trois niveaux. Il y a 3 niveaux, 4 niveaux, 5 niveaux, et il faut vérifier combien de niveaux il y aura chaque fois. Et on s'approche à la nature.
Je suis d'accord, mais si on suit Bergson, pour lui, il y a 3 niveaux essentiellement.
Oui,
On peut poursuivre. Je pense que c'est une méditation qui va s'ouvrir et qui va continuer dans la philosophie française. Par exemple, avec Souriau, il a pluralisé des modes d'existence, ou avec Ruyère, qui va attribuer des formes de conscience ou de synthèse à des êtres très différents, des domaines absolus de survol et des êtres très différents. Mais la machine est en marche. On doit absolument comprendre qu'il y a des modes d'être différents dans la nature et que ces modes d'être, il faut les associer, il faut essayer de comprendre comment ils s'articulent. C'est la tâche de la métaphysique. On peut dire ce qu'on veut, mais la métaphysique, c'est pas du romantisme, c'est pas de la schwärmerei, c'est pas de la fantaisie, c'est simplement l'idée qu'il faut découper les êtres selon leur propre régime de temps et essayer de savoir comment ils s'associent.
Je vais essayer. Donc, dans Bergson, on a l'univers dans un côté, et après, on a l'élan vital, et la durée de conscience et l'élan vital d'un autre côté. Et il faut... Non, ok, c'est pas comme ça. Je posais cette question.
Non, mais allez-y, posez votre question, c'est pas un problème.
Et après, il faut comprendre comment ils sont liés. Donc, et vous avez dit que dans notre perception, l'univers est répliqué. Et il est immédiatement donné. Voilà. Et après, vous avez dit aussi que Bergson n'est pas un philosophe solipsiste et idéaliste. En fait, je pensais que... je voulais savoir si vous pouvez dire quelque chose en plus pour montrer qu'il n'est pas un philosophe idéaliste. Parce que j'ai bien compris qu'il n'est pas solipsiste dans cette métaphysique-là, mais ce n'était pas vraiment clair quand vous dites que l'univers est donné immédiatement dans notre perception, si que quand l'univers change, aussi notre perception de l'univers change, on n'est pas dans une métaphysique qui est aussi idéaliste.
Oui, mais tout à fait. Alors, pour répondre à votre question sur le solipsisme et sur... tout le monde a une vision de Bergson spiritualiste. Et pendant très longtemps, une vision de Bergson personnaliste. C'est-à-dire où le problème central de Bergson, c'était la personne spirituelle et ses actes libres. Il faut attendre vraiment longtemps, il faut quasiment attendre le livre de Deleuze pour que soudainement Deleuze impose une vision cosmologique de Bergson qui ne soit pas une vision, personnaliste, au sens la personne spirituelle. Alors que Bergson ne cesse de dire, et je crois que c'est ça sa grande invention, c'est de dire au fond, il n'y a pas de l'esprit seulement dans la personne. Si on dit que la durée, c'est une forme d'esprit, dans la mesure où ce n'est pas de l'espace, il y a de l'esprit dans l'élan vital, il y a de l'esprit dans un univers qui dure, il y a de l'esprit à l'intérieur de toute chose qui change. C'est ça, l'esprit, c'est le changement. On lui donne un caractère beaucoup plus concret et immanent à la nature. Et ça, c'est très conforme à ce que Ravesson a fait avant lui, lorsque Ravesson a montré, justement, que toute la nature pouvait être comprise comme une forme de condescendance d'une sorte de Dieu qui descendrait dans la nature et qui l'animerait. C'est la nature qui doit se spiritualiser et non l'esprit qui doit se naturaliser. Pourrait-on dire, si on veut résumer l'opposition entre ceux qui veulent absolument naturaliser l'esprit, eh bien non, Bergson lui fait le contraire, il veut absolument spiritualiser la nature, mais ça ne veut pas dire spiritualiser au sens... Ça ne veut pas dire spiritualiser au sens d'en faire un esprit éthéré. C'est dans les choses mêmes. Esprit veut simplement dire changement, capacité à changer. C'est ça que ça veut dire. Enfin, j'aimerais citer quand même ce texte fameux de Bergson qui est trop peu souvent souligné. Dans un texte, Bergson dit, au fond, qu'est-ce qu'on a fait de l'homme ? On a fait comme si l'homme, je le cite, était un écolier dans un coin dans la nature. Comme s'il était une exception dans la nature. Comme s'il était un îlot dans la nature. Pour reprendre la phrase de Spinoza, un empire dans un empire. Je pense que viscéralement, Bergson déteste cette position-là. Faire de l'homme un îlot dans la nature, c'est ne pas voir ce qui nous rapproche et nous rapporte à la nature. C'est ne pas comprendre la communauté de nature que nous avons avec les choses. Et si on n'est pas capable de comprendre cette communauté de nature que nous avons avec les choses, je rajoute, comment voulez-vous qu'on défende la nature ? Problème actuel. Comment voulez-vous qu'on défende la nature si on n'est même pas capable de redonner une forme de dignité aux choses, simplement par analogie avec nous ? C'est-à-dire parce qu'elles ont quelque chose d'analogue avec nous. Et donc je retournerai la question qui a été posée au cours de ces discussions sur l'anthropomorphisme. Oui, l'anthropomorphisme est une méthode condamnée par la science. Mais l'anthropomorphisme réel, celui de Bergson et des philosophies de la nature, consiste à dire, non pas à projeter l'homme sur les choses, mais à dire que la racine de l'homme, ce sont les choses aussi. C'est-à-dire que ce qui est en l'homme est aussi ailleurs qu'en l'homme. C'est-à-dire que s'il y a une forme de liberté en l'homme, elle est aussi ailleurs qu'en l'homme. Elle est dans l'acte de s'étendre de l'univers, elle est dans la formidable capacité créatrice de la vie. Elle est enfin dans les actes libres qui nous constituent. Voilà, donc je ne sais pas si je réponds, mais c'est ma réponse.
Oui, c'est seulement une petite pièce d'information, disons, sur la question de l'énergie, autour de laquelle Bergson a beaucoup discuté.
Oui.
Dans quelle façon on a résolu la question, dans le sens qu'il n'y a pas d'énergie dans l'univers. Ça, c'est les choses qu'on a mesurées aujourd'hui dans les dernières 20 années. L'énergie totale de l'univers est compatible avec zéro. Et ça change beaucoup les choses en termes. C'est très facile à discuter, à évaluer, ce n'est pas une chose étrange, c'est la chose plus naturelle, parce qu'on a des énergies positives, la masse, l'énergie, et des énergies négatives qui est due à la gravité, à l'espace-temps. Les deux choses sont absolument identiques. Notre compréhension, c'est que positif et négatif vont à zéro. L'énergie totale de l'univers, c'est un système à zéro énergie.
C'est ce que je dis.
C'est plus facile pour expliquer les choses.
Mais c'est ce que je disais pour commencer. Je pense qu'un philosophe est dépendant des sciences de son temps. Il travaille avec les sciences. Il travaille avec les sciences de son temps. Et si un philosophe voulait aujourd'hui refaire le même travail que Bergson, il devrait tenir compte des avancées de l'évolutionnisme, des avancées de la physique, etc. Bon,
c'est pas plus facile aujourd'hui, parce que c'est littéral.
Ils sont tous dépendants à cette époque-là, que ce soit Nietzsche, que ce soit Bergson, ils sont tous dépendants des thèses du second principe de la thermodynamique, de cette idée qu'il y a une entropie, que l'univers va vers une fin, qu'il y a un état final de l'univers, qu'il y a un état d'équipotentialité énergétique, de la fin de la métastabilité, que la métastabilité originelle va prendre fin progressivement, et y compris Nietzsche, puisque tout à l'heure a été cité l'éternel retour. La conception de l'éternel retour de Nietzsche, elle est influencée par les physiciens de l'époque, Caspari par exemple, qui disaient qu'il y a un état final de l'univers. Donc ils sont tous influencés par ces questions-là, mais d'où le problème que se pose Bergson, s'il y a une sorte d'énergie potentielle à l'intérieur de l'univers, avec des différences de concentration énergétique, qui rend possible le devenir de l'univers. Lorsqu'il n'y aura plus ces différences de concentration énergétique, l'univers sera stable. Donc c'est ce qu'il dit, la matière tend vers une spatialisation complète. Mais le problème que lui se pose en tant que métaphysicien, c'est comment comprendre la genèse de cette énergie. Bon, maintenant, s'il n'y a pas d'énergie, c'est une question qui tend... Comment comprendre la production d'une énergie initiale à l'intérieur de l'univers? Et là, je n'entre pas dans la métaphysique de la supraconscience qui nous tirerait beaucoup trop loin.
Merci.
He's a psychologist and a philosopher currently employed at the Institute for Frontier Areas of Psychology and Mental Health. His research focuses on time perception as indicator of ordinary cognitive functioning and emotion as related to psychopathological syndromes, as well as when profoundly changed during altered state of consciousness, as induced through meditation or the use of psychedelics. I'd like to remember 3 books of Mark: Altered States of Consciousness, Experiences Out of Time and Self, 2018, Felt Time, The Science of How We Experience Time, 2017, Felt Time, The Psychology of How We Perceive Time, 2016. I'll give you the floor. How we perceive time, the body, feelings, and the self.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, over these 2 days, I always felt a little bit like the elephant in the room, because I heard a lot about physics and philosophy of time, and but there was always something like mentioned our experience of time, psychology of time, but not really, probably. So I'm not sure if I should be afraid or honored. So I now represent the psychology of time.
Exactly.
Okay. And so I also use then this chance and present at the beginning. Okay, what do we know about the subjective experience of time, psychological and neural models of time perception? And I will also show you how problematic actually the status is in the brain science and psychology, that actually there is no consensus on how we as humans perceive time. And then I will go into my theorizing, modeling ideas, which would be the term embodied time, is something that describes it the best. And I will not only present my own research and current research, but also go into historic evidence to actually show that empirically speaking, there is actually a line of a lot of empirical evidence from the late 19th century up to now, which goes into the same direction, but very often was neglected. And at the end, so I'll also talk about timelessness and selflessness, altered states of consciousness. Why do I do this? It's interesting in itself, but also because I want to make a point about the models of how to find out how we actually perceive time, and we can take these extreme states to learn more about the perception of a phenomenal self and phenomenal time. Okay, beginning first of all, there are 2 areas of time perception, so I'll categorize a little bit of what we're talking today. And so you could say perception, cognition, and action, they evolve over time. So there must be some temporal processes in the brain that are involved in timing of actions. This is probably best named with event synchronization. And the 3 pictures on the left depict this very much. In the milliseconds to seconds range, we have to be very precise to coordinate our own movements with the environment. If I step a little too early or too late in the dancing movement, I will step on the shoe of my partner. So this is important for my synchronization with the environment. This is milliseconds to a few seconds. This picture down there is from the Wikipedia website on boredom. And this is now the second part where we could talk about time perception. And the way I say time is also an experience. And what I want to show is that it's also key to understanding cognitive processes and emotional states. And it's probably related to longer time intervals in the multiple seconds. Another categorization is there are, of course, a multiplicity of different experiences of time. And I will just want to highlight now 2, and then I will emphasize one of these 2. First of all, time perspective. We can talk about the retrospective time, looking back, and there very much our memories are involved, or the amount of changing experiences we retrieve out of memory And this is very much highlighted through our experiences of during vacations, a lot of activities, subjective time expands in retrospect because you have so many memory retrieval. In everyday routine, subjective time seems to flow much quicker because not so much is retrieved in memory because it's always the same. And so there's a lot of evidence showing that retrospective time perspective, looking back the last day, the last 2 days, probably your last 2 days are comparably long because you're here in a new context, in a new situation. Or the last year, the last 10 years, they are all dependent about our memory retrieval, about how much we actually experience. But I will be talking more about what scientists call prospective time perspective, but basically what it means is actually experiencing time at the present moment, right now, here. And what we'll notice is that the relevant factor here is attention to time or distraction from time. So if I attend to time, for example, in a waiting situation, time expands. If I'm not attending to time, but absorbed in an interesting activity, interesting conversation, thrilling movie, time passes very quickly. But then the question, of course, and this is what I term now as the mystery of subjective time is, where do we attend to when we attend to time? And this I want to exemplify with the research, how actually, what time actually in this context, attending to time means. Next, I show you classic cognitive models of, again, some textbook knowledge. And this is one idea, so this is not how time is processed in the brain, but it's a very good heuristic to understand our everyday perception of time. And what one assumes is that maybe something like a pacemaker that emits pulses that are caught in this accumulator, and the amount of units during a certain time span then elicits my feeling of subjective duration. So if 4 seconds, I have less of these pulses than in 8 seconds duration, so 4 seconds is subjectively shorter than 8 seconds. But only, and this is important, only if I attend to time in this model, then these impulses are accumulated in the accumulator and time expands. And this is a waiting situation. Only if I attend to time, I'm waiting, nothing's happening, these pulses accumulate and time expands. But if I'm not attending to time, I'm in this interesting conversation, and then time passes very slowly. Why? Because not so many pulses come into the accumulator. There is another second feature in this model, that's arousal level. The pacemaker might not have the same pace all the time, but depending on my bodily states, and I will come back to this later, the pacemaker might be quicker or slower. And so if I'm really activated and in a positive or negative way, the pulses go into this accumulator more quickly, and then again, time expands. So in real life, so this is just a cognitive model, which is very good as a heuristic to explain subjective time. In the real world, this is what we did. It's actually the real photo. We had subjects coming into the institute, and we told them a couple story that, oh, please wait here before we can test you in the next room, but there's still a student over there, and you please have to wait. And we took away the cell phone, the books, everything they have used to sort of distract themselves, and they sat there for exactly 7.5 minutes when the experimenter came back and then asked them, how much time do you think it actually has passed? And we asked more questions like emotional well-being during the time, boredom state, and so on. And of course we had a lot of different questions, but very clearly this fits also this model, because what will happen in this situation? You will attend more to time, you're not knowing what's happening, this is a real waiting under uncertainty, your arousal level will go up, and what clearly came up, the more unpleasant the waiting situation was for the subjects, or the more bored they were, the longer they estimated subjective time. There were more features to this. For example, the more impulsive individuals were from their personality, the more they were bored, the more unpleasant they thought it was, and the more they overestimated. Okay, so this was putting a funny cognitive model together with a real waiting situation in the real world.
How much did they underestimate or overestimate?
Well, the mean was actually around 7-8 seconds, but there was quite big variance from 2.5 minutes to up to 20 minutes. But then you have a correlation within this sample showing these relations. Here's what I want to show with this. You don't have to look up all these technical terms or these brain locations. The only thing I want to show here with this slide is in 2009 I co-edited an edition of the Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society, and we asked leading neuroscientists who are studying time perception to present their models and to say how do they think the brain processes time. And what you see is totally different functional principles and totally different brain locations that are predominantly involved in time perception for these different authors. And what you basically the only take-home message from this is showing that there is no agreement on processing models and there is no agreement on the neural substrates of subjective time. Actually, just because there's so many physicists and philosophers here, Ernst Mach has a very interesting theory which he had in his book Analyse der Empfindungen, Analysis of Sensations, where he says that the amount of energy expenditure during a task defines our subjective time. So the more energy expended, expend during a task, the more it dilates subjectively. Now I want to answer why is it actually so difficult for scientists to find an answer. And here's some sources of difficulty I will just quickly go through. And one is that if you have neuropsychological models of subjective time, that you very often hope for, let's say, a certain brain model. Yeah, there's patients with cerebellum, and then they have these lesions, and then a certain function collapses and they come to form. Then you can infer that cerebellum is important for this function. The cerebellum would be, for example, motor reactions. But we have a lot of different patients populations who are impaired in time perception. So patients with lesion to the cerebellum, to the right hemisphere, patients with Parkinson, and different patients who have very similar problems when timing. And also, you never find any patient population where you find a complete breakdown of performance. Then also different transmitter systems have been shown to be involved in time perception. If you use the method of transcranial magnetic stimulation, you can stimulate different areas of the brain and transiently disrupt these areas of the brain, and then end up very similar deficiencies in time perception. The last point, if you do neuroimaging analysis, there are always multiple brain sites active, and it's really a whole network, and it's then really difficult to find out which are actually now the brain areas involved. So these are a little bit the complications that neuroscientists face. One way to some sort of break down all this complexity is that you can say, maybe you can actually assign different timing functions to different time ranges. So for example, millisecond timing is probably something different than timing in the 300 milliseconds to a few seconds range. So there are other brain regions involved. Middle time area is probably sensory motor brain areas which are involved in the timing of events. And then even longer intervals, multiple second time perception, again, is related probably to other brain areas. And I will now show you my results of my research I did for 5 years in San Diego, where I came up with a hypothesis. So what did I do? And the answer will be, again, subjective time is related to the body itself. So this is the answer beforehand. And how did I come up with this? So we had subjects in this fMRI reproduction task where they had to reproduce durations of 3, 9, 18 seconds tones. And so they listen first to the tone, beep, pause. Second tone, beep, and then they have to stop the second tone when they think it's as long as the first tone. So they have to accurately reproduce this duration. What we found was that in a certain area of the brain, the insular cortex, we found this increasing brain activity with increasing interval length, which ended at the end of the interval. This was, for example, now for the 9 seconds interval, and this brain region was the posterior insular cortex. Then for the 18 seconds interval, we found this very similar thing. Now again, posterior insular activation increasing with increasing interval length and then stopping with the end of the interval. As if this increasing activity over time encoded a duration. So what is the insular cortex? So first of all, again, textbook knowledge. Insular cortex that represents the physiological conditions of the body. That's important for the homeostatic regulation of physiological needs. If you have thirst, hunger, temperature, pain, that we react to it, or autonomically speaking, or through behavior. But also if you look at Damasio's somatic marker hypothesis or James Lange theory, and it's all these model interpretations of it, it's also the basis for complex human emotions. It's not identical with human emotion, but it's the basis of complex human emotions. And so there are a lot of neuroimaging and lesion studies showing that the insular cortex is involved in the physiological needs, they're activated in emotions, but also things like complex decision making, where we have this proverbial gut feeling where we want to decide, in music perception, which has temporal structure, emotion, and also in meditative states, to which I will come later again, where it's all about concentration on the self and the body itself. So going back to this earlier cognitive model I showed, this funny pulses, maybe we can use this and say it's not some cognitive abstract pulses, but it's the body states, the interoceptive signals that are accumulated somewhere in the brain, maybe in the insular cortex, which define our subjective estimation of duration. So one would say, classic to this philosophical idea, time is not perceived in the outside world, but through interoception by the material self. And this is, of course, very much related to the phenomenology of Maurice Merleau-Ponty, who basically state the same thing, and here I have some empirical evidence of this. So, going further into this model again, so we had beforehand I showed you these two components, attention and arousal. So now attention to time does not mean something abstract as an abstract entity, but maybe attention to your bodily signals. And arousal, of course, is your bodily arousal. And these two mechanisms lead to your subjective duration estimates. And the distortions relative to where you attend to time, if you attend to time or not, or whether you arouse or not. Yes, so this is some sort of state of the art. I will embed this later now also in other model results, but I want to go back now, having a little historic excursion and showing that these ideas are actually not that modern. And I go back to Freiburg in the 19th century. There was a person called Münsterberg, which maybe not everyone knows. He studied with Wilhelm Wundt in Leipzig. And then in Freiburg, he founded one of the first experimental psychology labs. And later, by invitation of William James, went to Harvard. And in his Freiburg study, which actually was at his own home, he did the same, nearly the same duration reproduction task I just showed you, with intervals between 6 and 60 seconds, different intervals. And his results were then, which you can read in this book from 1889, was that the temporal reproductions were most accurate when the onset or the offset of the intervals coincided with the breathing in. So that was the result, and this is his explanation in 1889. So the sense of time relies on the sensation of tension in different organs which are caused by muscle contractions. But then a more prominent person, of course, Ivan Pavlov, he came to a conclusion in his book, which was 1928, translated, book Conditioned Reflexes, and published in English. And he came to the conclusion, changes in practically all the component tissues and parts of the organism are capable of influencing the cerebral hemispheres. The continuous cycle of direct and indirect influences upon nervous activity constitutes the physiological basis for the estimation of duration. And he had two studies I want to highlight, which I got one study I found in his book, and the other study reference I found this nice biography of Daniel Todis about Ivan Pavlov, which was published in 2014. Study 1. A dog was repeatedly fed 2 minutes after a buzzer sounded. So the buzzer was first the neutral stimulus and then became the conditioned stimulus. After this learning, the saliva, so the conditioned response, elicited 2 minutes after the conditioned stimulus, the buzzer, even without food. So it had learned the interval of 2 minutes, and then could record the saliva could reproduce. Every 2 minutes, the saliva was elicited. Study 2 was with a 30 minutes interval. And so a dog was repeatedly fed every 30 minutes together with the sound of a metronome. And then after learning, the saliva secreted only when the metronome sounded at exactly 30 minutes and not after 29 minutes. I don't know if you can actually replicate this, it sounds horrific, but basically what he shows is that the 2 minute interval and the 30 minutes interval, can somehow be conditioned with external stimuli, and the body learns this specific environmental duration and can react to it. This is of course not explicit time in humans, but it shows that the body is able to represent duration, learn the representation of durations which are totally arbitrary, like 2 minutes or 30 minutes. Rubinstein, he was a Soviet psychologist, and his summary of Soviet work, there's an English language page of his chapter of time perception from his Russian book, here in this slide, this website Tempometry, and I was able to read the German translation from an East German publishing house in the 1970s, and his summary is: temporality perception is due mainly to the spontaneous visceral sensibility, perception of time related to the essential organic axis, the feeling of time. It is caused by organic sensation and associated with the rhythm of the basic processes of organic life, heart rate, breath, etc. At least for those patients with anesthesia of the internal organs, there is a loss or highly reduced ability to estimate time. I will actually show a patient Rubinstein is referring to here. And here I won't go into the details, but just these three items show that actually now, again, back jumping to current research, that there is this connection between perceiving heart rate and perceiving time. And for example, they were shown the right anterior activation was found very active when people had to perceive the synchronization of their heartbeat with an external stimulus. The better they were able to do this, the more activation there were. And the heart rate variability also correlates with timing abilities in milliseconds. That's actually from colleagues from Padua who showed this. So again, heart rate and time perception are correlated. And then this we did in a lab in Munich. We showed that individuals with a higher body awareness, with a heart rate perception task, reproduce duration in the second duration more accurately. So we are asked them to count their heartbeats for 30 seconds or 45 seconds. And those who were more able to do this, who had more sensitivity in counting the heartbeats, were also more accurate in reproducing that time. I will skip this. This slide shows that how emotions, the body and time in general are related, and this just expands on these findings I had with heart rate and embodiment with a wider range of time perception tasks. So for example, stimuli with emotional content are judged to last longer in general. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of findings showing this. Individuals with high body temperature, fever, they overestimate time. Interesting study for those who are or were smokers. They had smokers to abstain from smoking for several hours, and then they had to judge durations. They had to anticipate. And these people who had totally overestimated these durations related to other people who are not smoking, I think, or to a situation where they were allowed to smoke. So it shows that physical urge of nicotine with expanded duration. And the last point still is the body-focused meditation expands subjective time. This I will go in my last chapter again, where I will talk about altered states of consciousness. So here is now real experiment we did with longer duration, 45 seconds. We presented subjects these 3 film clips. Ice Age, a documentary about a city, and the Blair Witch Project. So what would you say after I have now given you some introduction to the relationship of emotion and body relationships and time? Which one of these 3 video clips do you think is estimated to have lasted the longest?
3.
Well, we wouldn't have had to make an excessive study, because actually it's really exactly that it was the result. The horror movie was judged to last longer than the documentary, and this was judged to last longer than the cartoon. But then we had a second study with other subjects, where people, while they were watching these clips, had to perceive their own bodily reactions. You have to write down what they're feeling. And then even this overestimation was increased, that when they had to focus on bodily reactions, the horror movie was even more overestimated. So again, a focus on the body then leads to this overestimation of time. Of course, the amusement content fits to this saying, time flies when you're having fun. Even this increased this flying of time when they had to record the body movements. And movements is a signal to give you now this slide. I want to have one Einstein-Bergson slide and give you just my quick perspective on this. So I read, for example, an essay sur les données immédiates de la conscience. And the very, I think, famous sentence is, of course, that psychic states seem to be more or less intense. Next, look at in their multiplicity. They unfold in time and constitute duration. So how I read this is the dynamics of affective processes create time consciousness. So I read this now as a psychologist, and this would be my take actually on this discussion between Albert Einstein and Einstein-Bergson, when Albert Einstein said there is only a physics of time and a psychology of time, there is no philosophy of time. And I would say, but phenomenology, or philosophy as phenomenology at least, can inform psychology. And there is a philosophy, in bracket, phenomenology of time. And that's what I, as a psychologist and neuroscientist, take out of my reading of Bergson. And one step further, I just show you 2-3 slides, is in this relationship of emotion and time, you can also go into psychopathology. And it shows that patients with depression, for example, but also patients with anxiety, depression, I did a study with patients with cancer, but also drug-dependent patients in rehab, and in general actually, patients with impulsivity as a symptom in a lot of psychiatric neurologic symptoms, they show an overestimation of duration, they show a slowing down of subjective time, or they have this notion of being actually stuck in time. And this is what this cartoon wants to show a little bit, that for these individuals, the present moment is totally expanded, and the future becomes far, far away. And there are a lot of studies showing in different syndromes and with different symptoms this identification of subjective time distortions in psychiatric patients. And I want to go now to one psychiatric patient, which the Soviet psychologist Rubinstein referred to, and I found in his book. And it's actually an article from 1945 from Gabriel Dallon. And he was a psychiatrist at Sainte-Anne, a psychiatric hospital in Paris. And he describes a female psychiatric patient, Alexandrine, in his article. And this patient is very specific because she said she has no sense of bodily feelings and urges, like hunger, satiety, thirst. She has no feeling that she has to urinate. She doesn't feel fatigue. And Dallon actually made tests with needle pricks and also very mean, putting ice water into her ear, and she didn't show reactions. And also she said she had no emotional feelings. She can have physiological reactions of emotions, like tears, but she doesn't feel anything with these. And then she also said she has no sense of time. So she actually has cognitive control of her life. She newspapers, she knows daylight or daylight time, the clocks she can read, but she has no subjective sense of duration in the seconds to hours range. And also Dallon made some tests with her and showed that she actually was impaired in the time sense. So this is the conclusion of Dallon, is the duration perceived by consciousness is nothing less than visceral sensibility. We have something resembling internal clocks made up of various physical rhythms supplied by signals from our gut, bladder, lungs, arteries, and heart. So this was going back again into history and connecting it somehow to the modern day analysis of this relationship of body reactions, emotions, and subjective time. And now in the last part, I want to go a step further. So basically, I'm saying body self and the conscious body self is related to time consciousness. So if you have intensified awareness of the self, body, feelings, you have intensified awareness of time. And if you have a weakened awareness of self, body, feelings, we are less aware of time. So, and then in altered states of consciousness, self and time are modulated to the extreme. And I want to show you a few things, a few research excerpts, but even everyday experience already. Variations in everyday experience also show us this relationship. So what is flow, the sense of flow, is that you're totally absorbed in activity and you have a loss of sense of self. And then time can speed up dramatically because there's no feeling of self and time. If you're music, if you're dancing, whatever, totally absorbed, the opposite is of course boredom, or as I showed, waiting time. So there we have a particularly intensive self-awareness, and therefore you have time dilation. And there are many areas of other states of consciousness I can talk about. I will have selected now 3 different ones. I think that's 15 minutes, yeah? Well, I should have 15 minutes. And what combines these areas is that at the beginning you might have an intensified self-experience and a slowing down of time, but then at some point it makes a switch and you have something like ego dissolution and also dissolution of time and space. I didn't talk too much about space because it would be again another chapter opening some more, I would have to have more time for that, but very often time and space are together modulated. And I talk now about meditation, drugs, psychedelics, and maybe at the end also epileptic auras. So when I say that what happens for beginners with meditation when they meditate, actually they're totally focusing on themselves, on their breathing in and breathing out. If it's this form of mindfulness meditation, there are, of course, different variants of meditation. And what happens at the beginning, time slows down, right? Because you're feeling yourself, and time thereafter, what I told you, expands. And a lot of people then stop meditating because it's just too boring for them. But if you stick with it, actually, what happens after a while, if you're an experienced meditator, something would happen that meditators report, oh, I meditated for 30 minutes, but it felt like 5 minutes. And this is a typical thing because you lose your sense of self and time. Although at the beginning you focus on yourself, you're breathing in and breathing out of your bodily self, but this through this focus on the present moment, time suddenly dissolves. And this is now an interview I also refer to this in my book, with a Buddhist meditation teacher who had 35 years of experience meditation, was 24 years a monk in a Buddhist monastery in France. And just imagine this, for 10 years he meditated 12 hours a day. So no Sunday or so in between. And I counted then his meditation hours at more than 50,000 hours of meditation. A professional piano player has this amount of hours of practice, piano practice. And that's what he told me, that in these deep states of meditation, the timeless awareness during meditation is an awakening. That's what they call this state. It has no beginning and no end. This timeless time is an immersion into a being where no comparing happens. When we are comparing, there are always relations between a before and an after. It is timeless presence without the sense of an I. Without observer, perception and perceiver are one. So this is then the record of someone who is meditating, because they really experience it. Also self and time dissolve. As it is so difficult to meditate, there is actually a way around to get similar experiences. And this is the isolation tank or floating tank, samadhi tank. And this is water of the temperature of the body, a lot of salt is in there, you float totally relaxing, and you have maybe a lid on top of you. It can be like a bathtub with a lid on it, but there can also be more luxurious versions. You don't see anything, it's dark, you don't hear anything. And the only thing that is really salient is your interoceptive awareness, and of course at the beginning your mind wandering. What am I doing here, and wow, how long will this take? But after, so you have no stimulation through external senses. And what happens at the beginning, as with your first time experience, or the first several times, and that actually has been studies on that, is that prospectively, at the present moment, people feel a subjective slowing of that time, an increased awareness of time. But retrospectively, as we said, it's related to memory content, because nothing happened. Retrospectively, then, there's a shortening of time, a loss of time, nothing special. But later with experience, and by the experience I mean it can be a second, third, or fourth time. I had this the third time, and that's why I say this samadhi time can be something like an instant meditation experience, the complete loss of sense of self and time. And I'm now doing with Justin Feinstein, the Library Institute in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who have a professional tank there. We're now doing these experiments also with EEG and to record these experiences. One step further with psychedelics, so LSD, psilocybin, ayahuasca, mescaline. Let's say 20 years ago you would have said, is this guy crazy? But this is now happening everywhere in the world. The psychedelics are back, and in the context of psychiatry and neuroscience, this is studied again thoroughly, and there's one group in Zurich doing this for basic research, and one group in London, and there are more groups actually also doing it for therapeutic purposes. And what happens is that if you have people exposed to the psychedelics, is what people report after it is a combination of these three: ego dissolution, dissolution of time, and the feeling of disembodiment. So again, time itself, the bodily self are dissolved. And we did also a study with the reproduction method. And as you see, it's not so important what you see on the bottom. These are significant differences between conditions without psilocybin, with a little psilocybin, with a lot of psilocybin, and they are significant, not tremendously. But why is it so interesting? Because we found this correlation of the reproduction performance with the subjective item in the questionnaire of other sense of time. But we actually have now a correlate of a behavioral correlate of the subjective sense. One more, Benny Shannon from Israel, did a lot of studies with ayahuasca. His, again, conclusion is, in peak experience, what you find is no self, no time anymore. And if you read, for example, I don't go through all this, but very quickly, if you look parameter, this could be something like the Kantian ways of reine Anschauung, passage, order, directionality. And this is now on the right here, modified temporality. You find also what happens under ayahuasca, cessation of time, modified rate of flow, confusion of order, confusion of directionality. This can happen all in an extreme state of psychedelic intoxication. I have one more horrendous slide, but then I'm over. So now it's 5 years, so I have one more slide. To finalize this, and I'm going to the last example on ecstatic epileptic seizures. That was the phenomenon that Dostoevsky had, and it describes actually in The Idiot the passage. So it's Mishkin in this Idiot, but it's basically his own word because he had these experiences. Yeah? In these epileptic auras he said, these moments were nothing else but the extraordinary intensifying of the awareness of myself, of consciousness, and of the utmost immediate sensation of myself. In a letter to his wife, he wrote, referring to these experiences, I cannot say whether these moments of bliss lasted seconds, hours, or months, so total distortion of time. And now, this was not tackled very often, and there was hardly any neurological evidence, but people now, similar to the rise of psilocybin or psychedelic studies, are now suddenly samadhi tongue studies coming up. I'm talking about studies which are published in the most important neuroscience journals. You also have now empirical studies looking at these ecstatic epileptic seizures with patients. But Craig is one colleague who worked with researchers in Geneva and in Sweden. And first of all, again, relating to my insular hypothesis, what they showed that there's actually hyperactivity in the anterior insula during these ecstatic seizures. And now down there you have the subjective impressions what people report to the doctors later, through what they experienced during these seizures. There's a feeling of total presence, a feeling of unbelievable harmony of my whole body. The consciousness of myself is very increased, or I am in a radiant sphere without any notion of time or space. So this is actually really like that, as if it was a report from a psychedelic experience, but these are reports after seizures. Okay, I think this was quite a tour de force from basic time perception models, or cognitive models, to neuroscience studies showing where in the brain, maybe the insular cortex, time is represented, passage of time is represented, to historic accounts of, again, this embodiment idea. So there is actually really a history of showing this relationship. And at the end, I'm showing you also now these new findings related to other states of consciousness of how body, emotions, self, and time are related. And this is some sort of the take-home message slide. If you might maybe hopefully pick out individual things that are important for you, but if you ask what is subjective time, if you ask to a psychologist, neuroscientist, maybe this could be the answer. It's about momentary time, experienced self, about body time, insular time, emotional time, and time consciousness and self-consciousness are very much related. And That's also different to all the other talks before. In the empirical sciences, you always show at the end a list of collaborators and of sponsors for your studies, which I do now, and say thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Mark, and okay. Who is the first? Okay, thank you so much for your very interesting talk. I have a strange question. I don't know if I really understand, but I have a curiosity. Bodily changes have been observed, for example, concerning the aging during this particular type of perception of time, like flow and waiting time.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have other questions. In your opinion, what type of perception of time has the twin that in the paradoxy twin about relativity?
So we talk about stationary experience, not flying in rockets. Yeah? Yeah? So we're just here and there's no twin, and I'm just measuring what's happening with myself or with subjects, and we have the same reference frame. Yeah? So you're asking what would happen with a twin who's flying up?
Yes. It is too much.
Well, for each reference frame, you would have, I would say, very similar insular activation. Why they have to judge duration? That would be my answer.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to learn something more about the relation which I tend to see more clearly between heartbeat and movement. It seems to me that the coupling, the matching of these two tells you much, perhaps more than emotion. Because it seems that, for instance, if you were mentioning something like hunger or being thirsty and the like, this seems so to say scalar kind of properties. They have no directions. They cannot help us be
more hunger.
Yeah, sure. You can be more or less, but
increasing hunger.
Yeah, but it takes a lot. While I can, by considering, for instance, my heartbeat and my movement, I can predict very well certain amount of time. I'm a amateurish runner, and I can imagine the professional or the musicians. If you tell me, just run at this pace per kilometer, I can err by 1 or 2 seconds. 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I can be 2 minutes 28 to 4 minutes 32. So quite precise in a way for all this. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but one can calculate it. The professional can go just a month like that. So it seems that in that case, they are coupling heartbeat and the physical movement. And all the cases where you were mentioning the people losing their time are situations in which they are very relaxed, there's no movement, no external stimuli and the like. And in fact, I think that there is a third factor, which is the external condition. I used to be a spelunker, a speleologist. So we know that in cave, people that have a very much activity, they completely lose track of time. So there seems to be a triangulation here between heartbeat, movement, and external conditions. And once these are in phase, then you have a grip on time. If they are not, and so there will be a nice experiments on this. If they are not, I think that the self-construction of time goes over it.
I don't want to argue now with you, but it's a fine comment. So, of course, as always in science, you have to sort of come down to a basic setup, and at the beginning, maybe it's easier to have people sit in the chair and not move, and then record their heartbeat, because if you want to record the heartbeat, although it's possible, you have movable devices, it's easier if they sit still and you record the heartbeat, because you get artifacts. And so, you're absolutely right. So you are now relating to more real-world experiences. I totally agree with you. But I just showed you now what we can do in the lab to sort of also get people into the lab. We're also doing this, of course, also because at some point we want to do EG, fMRI, and so we have beginning with stationary subjects. But I totally agree with what you said.
Yes. Okay, so I have a question. That was very interesting for me. So the first is that you started saying that you wanted to tell us something about the experience of time right now here. Right now here. You said literally these terms. But then, so the short movies you showed us, they were 45 seconds. And also in the waiting time in the room, it was like 7.5 minutes, which sound to me not right now. It's both like, you know, memory and stuff. It's the first question. And the second question.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Because it's still my working memory. I don't know how good this still now.
Yeah.
So the first one is with the 45 seconds, I would still say, that's actually what Mauro said before, that you may have in the time span of working memory, you still can integrate something up to half a second or something.
Species present.
Yeah, more working memory present perhaps, if you want to say species present, and there I would still say some sort of still maybe just at the limits, the 45 seconds. But you're absolutely right, in the 7.5 minutes now, it gets increasingly difficult to interpret it, because then what you have is a mix of being now in the here and now over a certain time course, and then when we ask them, also have a retrospective perspective, or perhaps recalling how I was there, miserable and time stretched. And so this is actually a mixture of probably both time perspectives. What we wanted to do here is actually just having, for once, because it's incredible, we've never seen a real experiment doing this. Waiting is the everyday experience in our industrial lives, even beyond there. And you want to have, I think it's really the first real waiting situation where we ask people about boredom, time, emotion, and what's happening. That's why we want to do this. And it fits some sort of in the whole context of also these models with attention to time, arousal, but you would point it's actually more complicated to explain.
And the second question has to do with the relation between the emotional states and the way in which you judge the passing of time, right? Because this was like one of your points. And so I was wondering, so if you can say something more about how we judge the passing of time in the cases in which we're not really in a specific emotional state. You know, sometimes we just walk on the street, or and so we're not really happy or sad. We are in a neutral, let's say, emotional state. So in which way we would judge the passing of time in these kind of cases?
Yeah, we're not constantly aware of time, of course. Yeah, you can, even if you go to, especially if you're in some sort of flow state, if you have an entertaining conversation at the dinner table, it's actually a sign that you're not feeling too good or not well if you're attending to time. Also, we had one question here, also clear, of people who didn't feel so well in this boring waiting situation. They also attended more to time. You asked them, how often did you attend to time? Or how much did you attend to time? So it's absolutely true. Only if you, in this prospective, momentary model, if you attend to time, you can speak about this. Of course, our subjects in the fMRI or in EEG, they know they have to judge duration. And then we have this situation. But of course, in everyday life, it's not like this. Very often, in everyday life, it's more like a retrospective thing that you're sort of sitting there, and at some point you're sort of getting bored, and then you're looking back, oh, it's half an hour that I came here to the lecture hall, and I'm still talking so long, and then it's more retrospective. So it's, of course, reality is always a little complicated. Now we have to take out specific perspectives out of reality and then test them. So, but this is the time. But if we attend to time, then one could say we relate to our body states. If we attend to time.
I don't remember the other thing.
So if it's really the case that these results, to me, strongly suggest that what creates the experience as of a passage of time, some part of the brain, some functioning of the brain and how it relates to its immediate environment, and therefore that it would be a mistake to sort of put something in the metaphysics of our fundamental metaphysics of our physical world that does this. That doesn't seem to be necessary at all. Or is there something I'm overlooking?
We talk about the metaphysics of time.
So in the fundamental structure, metaphysical or physical of the world, out there somehow, some people have argued that there needs to be a dynamic element somehow in order to explain our experience as of passage of time. But I don't see that anywhere coming out of any of these.
Well, it's the dynamics of my body, the dynamics of my environment.
Sure.
And it's actually very Bergsonian, even the idea of what we just heard before, that we sort of relate to the dynamics of my body or the outside world. And so I'm sort of I'm arguing about this level, and this was my question before in the coffee break to you. Where would be the crack between physics and psychology where we could make a connection? And I also had this question before to Mauro, where would be the connection between physics and time psychology? What I show here is, of course, totally only psychology and neuroscience of time.
Yes, but I don't see any crack at all.
Yeah. Like I asked you, where could be a crack? Yeah?
I don't see any.
Yeah, I don't see any either, yeah.
Yes, if I can just, what you're talking about, I think it's really obvious in Heidegger's being in time. He finishes with that sentence. The essence of time can only be defined through our own existence. And if you need a connection, there's been a long time in the past, but we're trying, I guess, to find a new connection that can take us to another level, of course. And that probably is...
Only Heidegger never, I think, explicitly related to body sensations, yeah?
Well, yes, but it was like, what I was saying that time can only exist through the presence of human beings, like through their own existence. So if the existence of human beings that gives meaning to time, that is basically, there are many philosophers here that probably know it better than me, but what I'm trying to say is that maybe what you have presented is something that in some cases may seem normal to people who are trying to find a deeper meaning of time and time perception. But again, as we said before, these are two different concepts, and that's probably where the gap lies, right?
I'm not looking at deeper meaning of time.
Yes, I was trying to answer
context then. So this is really shows that this problem that there's, if you talk about memory or seeing, hearing, you find a very strong consensus among psychologists, neuroscientists, where they agree on certain things, which in every textbook you will find the same things. But if at all there is a chapter on time perception, such a fundamental thing, most there is not even a chapter on it. But if you find one, it can be totally different from one book to the next, depending on the source.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted. So first of all, I think we have to first clarify how does the brain process time, or at least this aspect of time, but there are many other aspects too I didn't speak about.
Trying to justify that. I was trying to justify the splits in the sense of.
So you gave very interesting insight on our perception of time, say on typically short time scales, right? Hours, say, below hours, or days, I don't know, but
minutes, seconds to minutes, actually.
Yes, so short time scale. To me, one curious experience, which I think is quite general, is that on the lifetime, human lifetime scale, there is a large, say, distortion in our perception of time. I remember when I was, I don't know, say 10 years old, think about next year was a huge amount of of time. And not because I was bored at all. I had a very happy infancy, say. Now, if I think 1 year is very, very short. So I don't know if there is any comment you can make about that, if there is any study to see how psychologically we mature a different way of measuring our psychological time through our lives.
Yeah, so meaning psychological time through lifetime is, so I showed at the beginning the slide, retrospective and prospective, yeah? And I tried to focus on prospective, but what you're referring to is mainly retrospective, yeah? And then interpolating to prospective, but at first you need retrospective, so the typical thing, yeah? As a 20-year-old, or let's say 60-year-old thinks, oh, time is passing much quicker than it was when I was 20 or 15. Actually, I did this research, and I actually could show this also. The older people get, the faster time passes for them, especially for intervals like, for example, the last 10 years. This is actually an empirical finding you can show. It's not just a myth, an urban myth or something, but it's actually, you can measure that. Although the effect is not really great, but it is there. And then the explanation would be that the older we get, the more routine we get in our life. Just imagine when we were children, young, in our youth, young adults, everything was new. Yeah? First time we go without the parents to vacation, we move out of the house of our parents, go to a new city, learn, start studying. Also from developmental psychology, everything you have to be totally attentive to what's happening, and everything is new for us. Yeah? And therefore more items are stored in memory because everything is exciting, new, and ambiguous. And then with 50, 60, 70 years, we get more routine, and the things cannot have this, let's say, aspect of newness it had when we were younger. And this would be, let's say, I would say this is a standard explanation for this phenomenon, that the older we get, the more routine we get, and the less new things we sort of experience and then activate in memory. I think that this is the main, I think this would be the dominant answer you would find get for most. William James wrote, what I just said was already William James wrote this, yeah? And you find this again and again. So memory is it what makes us time pass.
The very last question from Matthew, and then we.
Well, just to piggyback on what Chris was bringing up, that in some sense it seems like time, or the passage of time, is just the result of brain processing. We at least have to acknowledge. Experiments have shown that plants have a kind of memory. Single-celled organisms seem to be able to remember and anticipate, like swimming up a gradient towards more food. So there's at least in all biological organisms some form of time perception, right? So it's not just organisms with a nervous system. I don't know if you would extrapolate from your research on the brain.
We're not talking about biological time, huh?
Yeah. So even if we're not going to be, say, like Whitehead, panpsychist, and say that there's some experience of time that goes all the way down, we at least have to be biopsychists, if you will, so that this time perception is essential to all living organisms. So that somehow, in the biological world, time becomes essential. And I think this was a point that was brought up in response to my talk 2 days ago. But
I mean, pigeons can do it, rats can do it, mice can do it.
Single cells. So maybe it's a membrane, it's not a brain.
Zebra can do it. Even in this explicit sense of duration estimation. Because they only say, you train them that they only get food after a certain period of time, and they learn this duration. Animals learn this duration. Very simple animals learn interval, time intervals. Bees. Tomorrow, about bees and biological time. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And tomorrow morning, we're going to start with Giuseppe Longo, because Massimo Carbattoli can be with us for some personal problems. So we're going to start with Giuseppe Longo, Italian language, but maybe English slide. So I have to close the books, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.